Last time in the Curse of Strahd. Five different wanderers, each from varying lands of theirs, met by chance of fate within a tavern. This tavern in the town of Daggerford was the local hotspot for the evening, as rumors and gossip of recent horrors left the folk abuzz with excitement and melancholy. All the more reason to find yourself in a mug, for some. One by one, our fated adventurers arrived, and each congregated together, feeling out their fellow hunters. For they were hunters, each of them. Tales of werewolves had crossed the countryside like wildfire, slaying all who came into contact and stealing children. Coming first was the mist, and then came the howls. A tide of rage and primal savagery escaped from the misty forest by all accounts. First came a dwarf with skin black as midnight, a warrior by rights and a wives' tale to scare children off made real. Next came a brother and sister, simple country folk upon first inspection, but likely holding larger secrets close by. Third was a finely dressed man of handsome feature. Walking with confidence, he caught many eyes in both envy and admiration. Their fifth arrival was almost unnoticed. He flew about the room, picking up scraps of morsel here and there, only seen by one who was familiar to the Fey folk, and quickly gathered within their midst. The gathering had come. Then a last wanderer arrived. A man dressed in lightly tattered but colorful clothing swept open the door and announced himself readily. He strode to the group immediately and made loud introduction. This group did not fully trust this man from the get-go. He was boisterous and somewhat arrogant, but his proposal was intriguing. He claimed to have vast knowledge of slaying werewolves and would share their coin purse with the group should they agree to join him. A group of armed adventurers would fare much better than running in single-handedly. Arigal, his name, would share with them his family's hunting secrets. And so they followed him into the dusk towards his family camp outside Daggerford by the river. But as they neared, Arigal disappeared. Instead, an old man by the name of Stanimir greeted them with a friendly demeanor. The group was now very wary, since being led under false pretense. Arigal was no member of their camp, Stanimir said, though still part of their same lineage. The Vistani were known in small circles as wanderers and nomads, often mistrusted due to a magical ability that could charm others into subservience. Stanimir eased the party's trepidation in their midst and assuaged their fears. They had shared of their wine and broken bread with each other after all. Then Stanimir offered a tale by fire in the falling darkness. His fire turned green and grew in size, displaying smoke figures dancing within. In Stanimir's tale, he described a conqueror prince who was gravely wounded in battle. The Vistani took him in and nursed him. Against even his foes in pursuit, they did not give him up. This prince was forever indebted in gratitude, and this bestowed upon them gifts. They would forever be welcome to walk freely in his lands to come and go as they wish, but now a fell curse has befallen their lord. Stanimir pleaded with the party to aid him and lift his tyranny from the land of his home. At first, the group was tentative to accept, wanting to finish their business with the wolves first, but Stanimir assured them it was all connected. Fate, he claimed, has an odd way of collecting its due once swept within its grasp. The werewolves come from Barovia, their home. To diminish their threat, they would have to travel the same road anyway. And so our heroes agreed. As the festivities began anew, our adventuring band slept amongst the wagons and left in the early dawn along with Stanimir and his clan. They traveled west out towards sea, but never met the coastline. Instead, a great fog enveloped them. Before they knew it, tall pine trees with grasping limbs and reaching needle pines surrounded them to blot out the sun. Barovia had come to greet them, its gates opened before the caravan and closing tightly behind. And thus brings us to the present moment, where the caravan you find yourselves accompanying begins to halt. Stanimir breaks the encroaching silence of the forest. What you see about you is the Svalek woods. We have been traveling upon this old Svalek road for some time now. Believe now is a good time for rest for our sore bottoms. Welcome to Barovia, comrades. And I will be placing you on a map.
Upon this stop, you all do see, oh, what did I just do? Oh, the map took over the whole screen. Sorry. You all do see Soshani lean over and whisper in her brother's ear.
All right.
Oh, you're just gonna type it? Okay.
Yeah, I talked. Thanks for ruining the suspense.
I think they're waiting for you to say what you're gonna whisper to me.
I'm whispering it. They don't know.
Okay. So, does everybody see the map?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you are on the wagon caravan, along with all of the Vistani. You should be able to see Stanimir and some of the Vistani, if I'm correct.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, as midday break has come to pass, you are halted between towering trees whose tops are lost in heavy gray mist, blocking out all but a death gray light. The tree trunks are unnaturally close to one another, and the woods have the silence of a forgotten grave, yet exude the feeling of an unvoiced scream. If not for the fog and mist itself clouding your vision, you still would be unable to see very far into the dense foliage barring your way off the trail. The Vistani step from their wagons and begin feeding their horses. Brushes untangle their manes, and you observe a great sense of kinship with their animals. These are people to be wary of, for sure. But it is comforting to know they care in their own ways. There is a humanity in them, after all. During a time spent eating and refreshing yourselves, bits of conversation is shared between some strangers. So Shani, you, however, begin to smell a faint scent of death and decay upon the air. Do you follow its trail?
She would quietly tell her brother, Ernest, stay here, keep an eye. I smell foul of death.
Well, I'll say as if you smell death, I'm going with you. You ain't going alone.
I know I am far more comfortable in the woods than you are, brother. Only if you are comfortable with this.
Well, lead the way with those keen senses of yours.
What do y'all think about sticking together?
She would turn back and look. She would turn back, make eye contact with who just spoke. I'm sorry.
Rubicon. Sorry.
Nope, you're good. With Rubicon, and then would look at her brother, waiting for him to answer.
More the merrier.
What do you boys think? I say to Dahlgrim and Rufus.
I probably would Rufus would be sort of nervously flitting around back and forth, but probably trying to stay close to Shoshani.
So Shani does, whether it, combination of Ernest and Rufus, she does seem more relaxed to the rest of you with the two of them than in anyone else's presence. And she will begin to walk. I should say, I'm assuming the smell came from this way. Based on something else I saw.
Smell comes from the north.
Yes. Okay. So she would begin walking north. She would walk quietly. She would be as quiet as she can, and we kind of encourage her companion just with no words, just turning around with one finger to the lips in that quiet motion that we all, as human beings, know, or you're from the moon.
The foul scent leads you to a human corpse, half buried in the underbrush, about 15 feet from the road. The young man appears to be a commoner. His muddy clothes are torn and raked with claw marks. Crows have been at the body, which is surrounded by paw prints. The man has obviously been dead for several days. He holds a crumpled envelope in one hand.
So Shani would, keeping her wits about her, would slowly and carefully reach for the envelope.
Okay.
Are there any animals presently here?
There are not.
This is going to fly up into a tree and just kind of look around as best as he can without dark vision.
The dead man's letter displays a waxen seal, a large letter B set within its imprint. The parchment is worn and flimsy. You open it to reveal a message dated 10th of the 3rd moon, year 735.
And what date are we on now?
You don't recognize this date. 3rd moon, year 735? That doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
By your reckoning, it should be 1491, Dale reckoning. And you left in Marpenoth. Marpenoth is a month.
You said 1481 Dale reckoning?
1491.
Oh, so close. Okay. Perplexed, she tilts her head as if she were almost in the likeness of a confused canine, and she will turn to her brother and wordlessly hold out the parchment.
Oh, well, that date don't make no sense.
She would then, once it is handed off, she would then begin to see if there are any other clues on this body.
After briefly reading it, he'd hand it off to, Rubicon or whoever else wants to read it.
The letter reads, Hail thee of might and valor. I, the burgomaster of Barovia, send you honor with despair. My adopted daughter, the fair Irina Kolyana, has been these past nights bitten by a vampire. For over 400 years, this creature has drained the lifeblood of my people. How my dear Irina languishes and dies from an unholy wound caused by this vile beast. He has become too powerful to conquer. So I say to you, give us up for dead, and encircle this land with the symbols of good. Let holy men call upon their power that the devil may be contained within the walls of weeping Barovia. leave our sorrows to our graves, and save the world from this evil fate of ours. There is much wealth entrapped in this community. Return for your reward often. We are all departed for a better life. Oljan Indirovich, Burgomaster. And Rufus,
Well done.
as you are flying up above these trees, could you give me a perception check? And Soshani, as you are searching this body, could you give me a survival check? Or no, a investigation.
Bully. Survival, I would have rolled so much better. It's still alright.
Oh man, I thought you could just double click on the abilities on your chart to roll it.
So if you go to your skills tab,
Yeah, I'm there.
You double click on the number.
yeah, double click on the
On the
number.
number.
Yep.
Number. There we go. Cool.
It takes a minute. Yeah, once you got it, you got it.
There it is. Yeah, I'll take that.
Nice.
Nice.
It's not long ago that I had no idea what I was doing either.
All right. Rufus, it's a little kind of difficult to see. The mist is definitely making it hard to penetrate through. You see the tops of trees and you see animals kind of scurrying about in the limbs, but nothing dangerous. One thing you also notice as you fly kind of above the treetops, you don't have much further to go before you actually exit the forest. There is a road going off into the distance, and you can't see much further through the gloom, but it looks like you're kind of in a valley with a lot of woods and trees. And so, Shani, as you are searching this body, you become concerned. These claw marks and these paw prints tell of wolves, most likely. Typically normal size, but also some very, very large wolves. At least one.
She would immediately, her eyes would widen. If Ernest were paying attention, or really anyone, but he knows her, she would stiffen and like almost like act as if her hackles are raised, but she's not an actual animal. She turns, Ernest, brother, this human was taken by wolves. Most of them seem normal size, but there's one among them that is not a normal wolf.
You're
is
thinking
quite
like a
large.
dire wolf?
Would she be thinking direwolf?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. It is either a direwolf or the rumor of werewolves.
Well, I think we have to follow up on this. Is there a trail?
Make another perception check.
I would say she would also, as he mentioned, that immediately begin looking for a trail.
Perfect.
Am I able to roll perception for that as well?
Yeah.
Oh, well, his is better, but so Shani would still look.
Did everyone that wanted to roll a perception roll it?
I'll take one.
Sorry.
Ooh.
Hey.
Oh, nice.
Hey.
Swing
All
and
right.
miss.
You don't notice a trail. These woods are pretty choked with brush. If there was a trail, it would probably be very hard to discover, or else it would be really easy to spot because it would be the only spot, only like pathway not choked with brush. There is no such trail leading further.
So Shani would immediately begin to look for any animal creature. Any animal in the area. So
Okay.
she'd actually walk off, deeper in, away from the group a little bit, and she would look for any.
Rufus flies down and sees Shoshani looking. Is like, there's a fucking valley or something over there on the tree line. I say I don't know what's over there, but there's obviously, I don't know, a valley, a field. Maybe that's where they went. It's a break in the forest, at least.
That's when you hear it. A lone, piercing howl cuts through the darkness. All the Vistani halt what they're doing, staring into the trees and mist, unmoving. After what seems like a millennia, the responding echoes return its call. A number more howls sound about the caravan, sending the Vistani scrambling back to their wagons. Stanimir calls out to you. Quickly! Back to the wagons! Get inside! Do not let yourselves be seen!
So Shani
Follow
hesitates
him.
heavily.
But I go to the top of the caravan instead of inside the caravan.
Okay.
So Ernest is currently AFK, so let's just assume that Ernest nods to Soshani at this situation. And they would, she'd catch up to him and they would walk back to camp together.
Okay.
I'll give him a quick, I'll mute and give him a quick overview of what just happened. Keep going.
So Stanimir kind of like waves you by and kind of points to the back of the wagon. These are all covered wagons, so you could easily get inside and not be seen. Or if you're on top, probably roll a nice little stealth check for me.
Sure.
So Shani would. She would want to see what's happening. She would also ask, wolves have a keen sense of smell. Why are we concerned about their sight?
As Shoshani says that, I cast Druidcraft and create a scent of a rotting carcass or something, roadkill, as it were, about 10 feet away from me, 15 feet away into the woods that I can see.
Okay. Stanimir just says, please, into the wagon. So, is everybody where they want to be right now?
Did Soshani successfully make it up on top of one of them? I
Yeah.
rolled stealth, but...
Yeah, you can definitely do.
Okay. So she would be on top of the one that holds her brother Ernest. My OCD
Alright.
went a little crazy there for a second, sorry.
I say to Dahlgrim to watch to the east.
Aye.
Alright, Rubicon, are you staying outside of the wagon?
Oh, is everyone inside the wagon or on top of the wagon?
So Shani's on
inside.
top. Ernest is in, so Shani's on top of his.
I'm on top.
Here, in fact, there we go. I was just gonna say, let me change my elevation, but
you
Nomad
go.
had my butt. Yeah.
Yep, so if
Oh,
you
you're on?
hover your cursor over your token and you hold down Alt and then scroll, you can change the elevation.
Left alt. Right? It should be left alt.
Yep.
Fantasy Grounds makes a big difference between the two.
Got it. I think I do. Well, Dahlgrim, you're in the wagon.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll get in with you.
Okay. As you all move to your positions, trying to cut line of sight and to become hidden, the wagons do not move. It appears your comrades may be waiting. check. And Ernest and Soshani. You see, from your vantage, a few of the Vistani coming over by Stanimir. They begin talking in hushed voices. It appears they might be talking about something in debate, possibly arguing.
Can Ernest try to overhear?
Make me a perception check. You cannot make out what they're saying.
Yeah, that's fair.
I say, I'm not gonna lie, so Shani would also lean over and try to listen in.
Go ahead.
Ew, gross. A
Worse than me.
A
Damn.
bug flew in her ear.
Stanimir appears to be in debate with a small group of his kin. They are speaking in an odd tongue. You hold suspicions about it. Maybe about you and your group, or maybe about the body that was found, or these howls. And shortly after, the sounds of the forest diminish.
Algrim leans his head out of the back of the wagon, looking towards the leader of the Vistani, and says, in a loud whisper, "Why do we linger here? Clearly we should be leaving."
Vistani holds a finger up to its mouth. Shh. Wait. And what was an already uncomfortable eeriness about you turns from soft to silent. Predators have a way of doing that. Low growls nearby begin to announce the arrival of no small amount of beasts. You peer through the slats in the wagon side and observe about 4 full-grown wolves.
So Shani would silently cast Speak with Animals.
Right. Speak with animals. Verbal and somatic. Alright,
Yeah, so she kind of whispers it.
Make me a stealth check.
Okay. Oh, it was almost a 20, but...
Yeah, it was almost. Alright. According to your reckoning, you believe that you cast it quite silently.
Okay.
The 4 fully grown wolves, their fur dark and gray, thick, wild looking. Muscly sinew ripples on their legs and they pose threateningly. You believe with confidence there must be more behind which you cannot see. And then, one great wolf emerges from the brush. Larger than the rest. It stands about the size of a horse, stopping before the caravan and staring straight at Stanimir, showing no teeth or outward sign of aggression. But all of you can feel the menace. Its musk scent is powerful, and for a moment you feel a fright so powerful it nearly knocks you down, wishing to run as far away as possible. This must be what prey feel like when they are hunted by their natural predators. The direwolf sniffs the air. It bares its teeth with one droned-out growl. No words are shared. Stanimir merely holds out his hands in an easing motion and steps backwards slowly. He calls out to his family. Easy, easy. We must move. We can move now. And the caravan slowly gathers itself, beginning to move its way forward once again. Do any of you wish to do anything?
So Shani would be listening to see if there's any like words any communication from the wolves, from the large wolf, or if it's literally just the intimidation factor.
Make me a perception check.
Oh, almost a 20 again. Their dice are teasing me.
Inspiration.
Oh, I didn't realize I had it.
Yeah, just look at your sheet. You got the inspiration checked. All of you have that inspiration from last session.
Oh,
And then
sometimes it's
the
checked
few
and
of
it
you,
isn't actually.
yep, the few of you that did the journal entries have an extra one.
Okay,
So yeah,
I'm just used to that always being checked, so then I would use it, yeah.
Reminding you that you have that.
Are you okay if I just roll a second one to use my inspiration?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Oh, yuck, that's just the same thing. That's fine.
The same one.
That's fine.
Was meant to be.
Yeah.
You hear some of the low growling of the wolves nearest to you, talking to each other. And you understand this growling now because of your cast of Speak with Animals. But all the same, it's not loud enough for you to hear exactly.
Okay.
Can't quite make out what they're saying, but they are talking to each other.
So Shani would look to her brother. I want to know what they think. That'll require me getting closer.
Well, I don't think that's recommended at this time.
She continues just like staring at the wolves, but stays her movement.
Something else that's kind of odd, you would think the wolves would be pacing about on the edges. They're just standing there, almost like sentries, guards even. Anything anyone else wishes to do.
Insight if these are real wolves or werewolves. Or not insight, but
let's do an investigation for that. You have all reason to suspect that these are in fact real wolves. The large wolf in front of you, you suspect is a dire wolf. You've heard about these creatures. You can make a knowledge check if you wish.
which knowledge?
Alright, so a knowledge check on this would be nature.
Not the best, but I'll take it.
Dire wolves are just like regular wolves, but much bigger. They are much sturdier. They can withstand a lot more damage, and they do a little bit more damage, but other than that, they're pretty much the same as regular wolves.
Okay.
Right. So as the Vistani finally kind of get all their stuff ready and sorted, they begin to move out. Looking back, the wolves are all gone, save but for the one dire wolf. Its gaze remains fixed upon your wagon as its form slowly dissipates within the mist. And you move along the road within the woods once more.
What was that about?
My thoughts exactly, little man.
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I have to step away right now.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'll be back. Sorry.
All right. We'll miss you.
I won't.
So yeah, you are traveling once again with the Vistani, moving about. Feel free to roleplay if you want.
So Shani would lean over and look to one of the Vistani. Does anybody care to explain to us what that was about?
Stanimir actually responds, letting out a long sigh. Some of my family wished to abandon you there. They feared our dread master's gaze falling upon us. Told them we cannot.
Well, that's mighty kind of you. Thanks, pal.
So even though we were asked to go upon this venture by your kinds, some of you still wished to leave us. Well, thank you for having our defense.
I do apologize, it must be confusing. But we wish to bring you into these lands, but we wish to avoid the dangers. As it is, our master does not believe us to be against him. The wolves... Go ahead.
Sorry, pipes up and says to Stanimir, perhaps now would be a time for you to clarify what it is that your intention for us is, if your party is not of one mind.
I could tell you what I know, but our leader, Madame Ava, would have all the answers you seek. I'm taking you to her now. If you would please allow me some patience. We will be there soon. Only about an hour more of travel. You will have all the answers you could ever ask, probably more than you would want.
Pilgrim grunts in satisfaction. Fair enough.
And all the same, if you do not trust us, I certainly understand we are not trusted much in the lands we travel. You are free to come and go as you please. I only suggest you stay with us for the, it is much faster going by wagon than it is by road, by foot.
Well, you convinced me. A wagon it is.
Good. I will
She's
take you
just gonna
to...
kind of clutch nervously at the top of the carriage. He's gonna continue just to be on the lookout constantly at the top of one of the carriages. I don't even know if he's like maybe listening to Stanimir at this point.
Okay. This actually probably brings up a perfect opportunity to go over some of the traveling. So, I'm going to share with you this. This is your little handout for traveling, as well as traveling activities. So, whenever you're traveling, you can perform any of these activities. As a group, it is suggested to figure out who's kind of like the travel master or so. Travel master would basically just be the one that says, okay, where are we going? This is our destination. This is how we're getting there, and then keeping track of resources like food and water. But other than that, so like if you scroll down to activities, Rufus, you can keep watch, and it explains right there, scrolling down, keep watch. The associated skill is a wisdom perception check. So you're keeping your eyes peeled and your ears open for any sign of approaching danger, as well as sign of close by pursuers. So you make your perception check. If you roll 7 or less, you just take 8 as your result. And if you are...
I'm really bad at this, just so you know. Lucas would be really, really bad at this, just so you guys know, before assuming that I'm doing a great job watching.
But you're up there.
Yeah, I'm up there, I'm doing it,
you're
but
doing
boy,
it.
I'm really bad at it.
And then depending on the pace you are traveling, it kind of like changes how you make those rolls. So right now you're just traveling at a normal pace. So keep watch is a associated check, so you're just making it normally. If you go slower, you get to make that with advantage. If you go at a faster pace, you keep watch at disadvantage. So no need to like have this all figured out and understood. We'll go over it as we go. And right now is not too important. So yeah, Rufus is keeping watch. Anything anyone else wishes to do?
So Shawnee is definitely keeping her eyes and ears peeled as well.
Okay.
I'm interested in the scout activity. Does that
Okay.
involve having to leave the party, or is that something I can do kind of from where we are?
Yes. So scouting, the way that works is basically you're like the ranger. You're kind of going ahead, scouting ahead to try and find stuff. You'll notice at the very top it has dangerous activities, distracting activities, exhausting, and focused, with all those letters kind of denoting. So
Gotcha.
when you look at scout, it has X and E. X means dangerous, E means exhausting. So X is basically you're like doing something separate from the group, splitting the party, so to say. E is exhausting. So if you perform 2 exhausting activities during one day, you suffer a level of exhaustion after finishing the second one.
Okay, I'm gonna hold off on that for now, though.
Okay. Scout is a great idea, but yes, it is dangerous.
Sorry, so I should specifically say, so Shawnee will be on the keep watch.
Okay. Please make me a wisdom perception check. Since you are traveling with the Vistani, you don't really need to worry about much of this. Like, someone's already driving a wagon, someone's already navigating. If you have cartographer's tools, you can draw a map, and then maps can be sold for a handsome amount.
And this is, I'm so sorry not to interrupt, but this is a good time to teach everyone teach the newbies to Fantasy Grounds a trick. So on this little window that came up in the top left, you'll see that shield icon again.
Oh.
Down on the bottom of Fantasy Grounds, you'll see like these empty like brown blocks of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth. If you grab that shield that's directly left to traveling players and drag it down to one of those slots, it creates a shortcut. So you could always click on that or, hit that option and it'll bring that up so you don't have to like dig for it or ask for it every time, and you can reference it quite easily.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
Got
then
it.
you can pull up those with the F button. So like if you drag the map to like the number 7, when you click F7, it will open that window up.
Yep.
And then you can modify it with like Shift and Alt and Control too. So you can have a whole bunch of them.
I'll say I'm just a nerd old lady. I just click on it, but yeah, you can use the keyboard shortcuts too. All right,
Okay.
so continue on. I just want to make sure that didn't get missed.
So, moving on. 17 and 4. Okay. As you continue traveling, after about 20 minutes, you exit the woods. Does everybody have the map of Barovia open? I believe I shared it. Just want to make sure.
I do
Yes,
have
yes.
I've got it.
Okay. So you should be able to see a little bit more. I am going to, let's see. Make a P for party token. Huge.
That's
That's what she said.
Nice.
Jesus.
I married the right man. I
Didn't
just now
realize the
realized
hex.
that. I didn't know it before.
Yeah, right.
Didn't realize
all
the
it
hex
took?
wasn't on. Yeah.
Yeah, I made a joke. He said that's what she said, and I got down on one knee. Actually.
That was it. That was it.
Yeah, that was the moment. That's how we proposed.
Except I didn't put a ring on his finger.
Heyo.
Heyo.
So everybody can see this little compass thing. That is where you actually are.
I liked it bigger when it was bigger.
That's what she said.
There you go. She just opened you guys up.
Gee, dang it. All right.
You missed me.
So you begin to see more and more of the countryside. The gloom makes it a little bit difficult to see too far. But all the same, after about 20 more minutes,
Is it day right now, or is it still night? Is it?
it's day.
It's day. It's just
Yep,
really gloomy out.
it's a little after midday right now.
So overcast,
So-
no sky, no sun.
Yeah, the mist is definitely something that seems to be ever present.
Gotcha.
Say it's probably 1 o'clock p.m.
Wait, quick question, completely out of context. Wasn't Barovia the country that... No, it was Genovia. Never mind, I'm done.
Oh, Genovia.
Thinking about Marvel.
No,
Princess
no.
Diaries.
Princess Diaries with Anne Hathaway.
Oh, okay. Some other pop culture reference.
I knew Jake got it immediately, but he
Yeah.
lives with me, so...
For better or worse.
Sucker.
Okay. You see a village with not a whole lot of people moving about, kind of quickly moving your way within. And up, sitting atop a mountain further away, just barely through the gloom, you see a castle.
Nothing creepy about that.
It's totally normal.
Looks homey.
Normal castle, perfectly tourist friendly.
I'm more interested in
Stanimir,
those birds. Why are their eyes glowing?
That doesn't seem very good. Shit.
Stanimir speaks up. This is the village of Barovia. I know a little confusing. Name of our homeland is Barovia, and this is the village of Barovia. Not the best people here, I will admit. Very, very steep prices, too. And if no one says anything, we can move on. Further along, you can speak up if you want.
Oh, no, I said I was good.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we're just passing straight on through the town?
It appears so. Further along, after about 50 minutes,
Ernest would bring up before we continue on, does everyone have all the provisions that we need? He said the prices were steep, but if there's something we're missing, this might be a good spot to try to pick it up. You know, everyone got rope, water skin, etc.
Rations would be my only thought.
if you voice that, so Shani would say, I am able to provide the rations myself, unless we have a particularly exhausting fight. So simply think of them as backup.
Very good.
Okay. So after about 50 minutes, you come to a bridge. Crossing over a river, Stanimir says, this is the river Ivlis. Not too much to note about it. As you can see, it is rather deep.
I mean, the bridge is deep, or the water is deep?
The water.
The water is deep.
You see
Can I
it's
fly
roughly... Yeah.
Can I fly down and check out the water and the bridge itself before crossing it?
Sure. As you fly down, you see that the river is roughly 50 feet wide. And a depth ranging from 5 to 10 feet. The arching stone bridge spans the river. And if you wish to kind of like inspect the bridge, go ahead and make me an investigation check.
Also really good at investigating.
I'm so sorry, how far are we away from the water?
You're approaching the bridge right now, so Rufus has kind of flown ahead.
Okay, well, once they get within 30 feet, so Shani would cast Shape Water as a cantrip and bring some of the water from the river to her so she can inspect it where she is.
So, Rufus, this river flows as clear as a blue winter sky through the valley. You look down, kind of looking at the water a little hesitantly, not fully trusting it. But as you dip your hands, it is a crisp and refreshing as you have ever seen. It's actually quite tasty. So Shani, you would discover much of the same.
She would keep it in like a figure 8 going around her two hands and then put it into like a sphere rising above one, because she only took a small amount, like a handful sort of amount, and she'll show it to her brother.
After Rufus sort of gently inspects the water, he like dives in briefly, comes out soaking wet, and kind of ruffles his feathers and body like as like a bird would bathing, and then kind of blasts back to the carriages.
Feels quite good. The bridge itself is also seemingly sturdy.
Looks like water to me, sis. Perhaps we could fill up our water skins with it.
She
That's
would
a hella refreshing water.
get a playful look on her face and take the tiniest bead of water from the sphere in her left hand to her right hand and then flick it and spray it at her brother. That didn't come through at all, babe.
I know.
Okay. How does it feel, brother? She like smirks at him.
Cool. Crisp.
I'm trying to see if I have something, because our water skins, would we say our water skins are already full?
Yes. You have full resources.
Okay. So she would simply place it back, like she would send it back and place it back into the body of water she took it from.
Okay.
And that's it.
You cross over the bridge.
So Stanimir, that castle we saw earlier, it was a mighty sight. Was that big bad's house you were talking about earlier?
Yes, actually. That was Castle Ravenloft.
Ravenloft?
Yes, the domain of our master. That is where he resides, if he is not about the land.
Well, does your master got a name?
He takes a moment, kind of pondering. His name is Strahd. Strahd von Jarovich. He was once a mighty prince, though his reign of terror has begun for many, many a year.
I'm assuming this Strahd character and the prince from your story are one and the same.
You see, a thin smile kind of cross his features. Please, Ernest it was, correct?
That's my
wait
name.
until,
Don't blur it out.
wait until Madame Eva. She will answer all of your questions much better than I can.
No, all right. I guess I'm just a little eager. Ernest.
Understood. Plenty to be eager. Keep your wits about you, though. We are entering the woods once more.
Don't worry, should he slack off, I'll simply splash him with some of that cold water from the river.
Hard to do that when you left it behind, sis.
I'll go back and get it, brother.
After just under an hour of traveling, surrounded once more by these thick, penetrating woods, Soshani, keeping watch ahead, you see a figure in the middle of the road. It doesn't move, it is completely still. But nonetheless, the Vistani on their wagons slow down and halt. They look a little cautious, perhaps worried, whispering amongst themselves. Seems like they're kind of trying to figure out like who's gonna go investigate. This definitely is not normal.
Ernest, they seem on edge at the stranger's presence.
Those seem a bit odd, standing in the road like that. He's liable to get run over.
Perhaps we should volunteer to go investigate this. She narrows her eyes. Cannot make out who this may be, though. And they seem to not know either.
Hey, Rubicon, you got a quick mouth and a silver tongue. Perhaps this is your time to shine.
Yeah, alright. What's the name of the head guy again? Sorry.
Stanimir.
Stanimir. Yeah, Stanimir, does he need... should someone go check this out?
This land is filled with many different dangers. Some you can kind of avoid reasonably well. Some it's better to not go near at all. We're trying to figure out what is going on. It's an odd figure. Looks like a scarecrow. Who knows? If you wouldn't mind checking it out, maybe, perhaps, might be a good idea.
Algrim elbows Rubicon and says, yeah, let's go take a look. And hops out of the wagon.
Alright, let's do it.
Let me join you there, fellas. Don't run off too quick.
Soshani silently follows along with her brother.
And Rufus comes down from the carrier, like, as stealthily as possible behind Shoshani.
Okay. So, I have placed you
damn.
on the map. And ahead, you see the figure looking like a scarecrow. Doesn't move, but it's quite odd for a scarecrow to be here in the woods, as well as being in the middle of a road.
So
Trying to move my character there, but there we go.
Yep, so when you move, if I have your tokens locked like I do, when you move, I have to accept it.
I see.
Yep.
So Shani would have her crossbow out.
Okay.
Not aimed at it, but her crossbow is out.
Rubicon taps Dahlgrim on the shoulder before he walks away and casts guidance.
Okay.
What does that do?
Guidance
extra
helps
D4
with guidance helps with like ability checks. Skills
Ability
are counted as ability checks.
Okay.
You get an extra D4 on them this early, right? Once you
Yes.
get higher up, it increases, but right now it should be.
No, I think it's just always D4. It's a cantrip, so it's not like a.
Oh, right,
it's
okay.
like yeah. So, I just say, hey, you stay close.
Keep proceeding up the road.
So Shani would stick by Ernest for now.
Ernest is hiding. He's in a bush.
Oh, well, I mean, would you make some sort of communication with Soshani? To not follow?
You can follow if you want, but I'm going to be hidden.
Am I getting close enough that a investigation would yield some new information? Or can I roll
Not
that?
yet. Not yet.
Okay. My intention is to investigate as soon as I get a clear view of this thing.
I would say probably once you are within 30 feet, that would apply.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a dead person. Good to see you, Adam. Let's see. You are 50 feet away right now.
Yep.
Sorry, the moving is not very intuitive to me yet.
So you can drag your token to a space and that'll do your movement. You can also use the arrow keys.
Arrow keys only work if you have your character selected.
That's true.
And you'll know that if you have like a ring around your profile.
Okay.
Or on the token.
Dahlgrim, please make me an investigation check.
Oops. There we go.
All right, 14. The best you can tell about this scarecrow is it's made from sticks and straw. Sacks. Perhaps from like flour or to keep potatoes in. Cover it. Seeming like a normal scarecrow as always. But also,
Okay.
you notice two other scarecrows in the woods off the side of the road. Unmoving as the first.
I'm curious if this looks like an ambush or a trap. I'm wondering if a martial check would be appropriate.
Go ahead and make me a martial check. The hair is certainly standing on the back of your neck.
I raise my shield and call out to the others. This looks like a trap. Be aware.
I would like everyone to roll me initiative.
Oops.
Oh, I really wish we got in our first fight at level 2.
You can't get there without getting experience.
There we go.
Bully. Ooh, I feel like this is new combat music. Have I heard this before?
I don't think so. I don't even know for sure.
I like it either way.
Okay, so
You didn't like that 15, huh, Dahlgren? You wanted to go for that 6.
Oh, oops. I'm still looking for buttons here.
Yeah, me too.
Please
Just guys,
give
don't
me-
feel bad and don't feel like you can't ask. We've all been new to Fantasy Grounds at one time or another.
and we will slowly get into it as well. So
You should have heard me when I was just getting used to it.
all
I'm
right.
not dumb, but I sure felt it.
We begin at the top of the order with Ernest Sputer.
I forgot our last name. I'm so sorry.
It's pure, yeah.
Some other time I'll tell you guys where that came from.
So I don't even know if I need to know where it comes from. It's just funny on its own, right?
So have these scarecrows made any sort of aggressive move?
No.
Yeah, where are the enemies?
No. Okay. Then Ernest isn't gonna attack first.
Okay.
Do they seem to notice his presence? Is he hidden?
As best you can tell, you're hidden.
Okay. Then he will just do more of the same.
All right. From
might
the
take the-
brush.
Might take the dodge action actually. I'm gonna throw
Okay.
that on me real quick, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Alright.
There you go.
There.
All
Yep.
right. From the brush comes a creature looking like this.
Healthy.
Smaller one. Oops.
Locked.
Comes running out. This creature made of vines and twigs in a little humanoid form comes rushing at Dahlgrim. And it is going to rake out with a claw. Dahlgrim is hit with a 21. Receiving 6 points of piercing damage. And suddenly, the scarecrow moves. Dahlgrim, you feel this well of fear suddenly surge in front of you as you look to the scarecrow, and its eyes turn a threatening red. As its body was not moving and motionless, the head suddenly cocks straight at you. And this is a wisdom saving throw, of which you have advantage. But even so, you fail. You are now frightened of the scarecrow until the end of its next turn. You are paralyzed by this fright. So, the way frightened works is basically you cannot move closer to the target. A frightened creature has disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls while the source of its fear is within line of sight, and it cannot willingly move closer to the source of its fear. As well, you are paralyzed. So a paralyzed creature is incapacitated and can't move or speak. The creature automatically fails strength and dexterity saving throws. Attack rolls against the creature have advantage. Any attack that hits the creature is a critical hit if the attacker is within 5 feet of the creature. Rubicon, you have received initiative.
Okay.
Ouch.
Just one second. I cast Guiding Bolt at this thing at Dahlgrim.
All right. The unidentified twig creature. So, in combat, if you click on your token so that you have it selected, it'll have that ring around it. And then when you want to target another creature, you can hover over it and then hit Control left click.
Okay.
And now you have it targeted, so then when you do your attack, that is a hit with a 25.
Nice. Oh.
Oh yeah.
How do I roll damage?
So, on your character sheet,
I got it.
yep, the little blood icon. Your bolt comes screaming out as you have this surge of radiant energy escape from you through your outstretched palm. It smacks into the creature, which explodes in a pile of twigs.
Get bent, motherfucker.
Damage.
Nice.
Very good
Alright.
damage.
So, Guiding Bolt is a leveled spell, so please mark off the first level spell slot.
Got it.
Alright. Will that end your turn?
I'm gonna move 30 feet away.
Okay.
Well, I guess 20 feet away.
Alright, does that end your turn?
And that ends my turn.
Okay, so everybody has the combat tracker open? Or no?
Yes.
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 Okay, so on the bottom of the combat tracker, there should be a downward facing arrow kind of towards the bottom. That is how you end your turn. Excellent.
Got
All
it,
right,
thanks.
Rufus,
And if
you
anybody
have...
said
I
Sorry.
said no here. Sorry. So combat tracker is not the party sheet, right? It's
No.
correct,
That
if
is
you go on
the-
the right hand side, it's the crossed swords.
Yep.
cross swords.
swords.
Thank you.
All right, Rufus, you have received initiative. What are you doing?
I am going to take the dodge action and kind of Rufus is gonna kind of be warily looking around, like looking back and forth. Where's Ernest at? Where's Dahlgrim at? And then where's Shoshani? And then basically taking the dodge action, readying himself next to or close to Shoshani.
Okay, so on your character sheet on the actions tab at the very bottom, there are the generic actions. You can double click dodge and that will apply the dodge action to you.
Double click.
There you go.
There it is. There
And
it is.
then-
Thanks.
Anything else on your turn?
No movement. That'll be. Actually, can I? So that's 40 feet away. Nope. I think I'm done.
Okay, so then same with you on the combat tracker. Hit that downward facing arrow to end your turn. There you go. So Shani, you have received initiative. What are you doing?
All right, so I see that. Quick question. I started with a crossbow, but it doesn't look like I have any crossbow bolts. Is that, or did I just not add them? Like, do we if we start with a crossbow, would we start with bolts?
So you didn't get any crossbow bolts. You only got the crossbow. So for starting equipment, it had you picked the crossbow as like a weapon choice, but it doesn't grant crossbow bolts.
Oh, lame. All right.
Lame.
Then, so Shawnee would
Just fire it anyways.
forward. Nope, she would step forward here. Ooh, I probably didn't want to go that far, but that's fine. Decision made. And she is going to. Here's what I want to do. I would like to take the water from my water skin, and I would like to cast shape water and use it like a whip, or like a baseball bat. Like put it into like a club, but a 30 like at the scarecrow is 25 feet away, and the spell is 30 feet. I would like to hit the scarecrow with it, and then put the water back in my water skin.
Or
Fortunately, you can't.
yeah.
You can't move water more than 5 feet per turn.
Okay. So it's 30 feet, but that's you can
That's the
control it.
distance.
Okay.
Also,
Glad I asked.
shape water is not a damaging spell.
It definitely can be though. Like you could turn water into a block of ice and drop it on enemies.
So,
Or are we not doing that in this?
the one thing right here in the description, you instantaneously move or otherwise change the flow of the water as you direct up to 5 feet in any direction. This movement doesn't have enough force to cause damage.
Okay, that's not a problem. Then in that case, she is going to really killing me here. Can't use my crossbow or shape water. All right, so she is going to target, and she'll use her. Let me triple check. Yes, she will use her thorn whip against this creature.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Your thorn whip lashes out, but instead of dragging the creature towards you, it just rips off a piece of its burlap sack. You miss.
All right, so Shawnee lets out a very animalistic growl, and she will move. No, she won't move again. She'll stay there. That's her turn.
Okay, Dahlgrim Darkstar, what are you doing?
Am I not still paralyzed?
Oh yeah, that's true. Sorry, forgot about that. You are paralyzed.
I would love to do things. I really would.
Maybe next turn?
All right, yes.
Fingers crossed.
Thus takes us to the original Scarecrow. It's 45 feet away. The Scarecrow begins to move forward. The one leg stuck in the ground is pulled up. It has odd jerking movements. Kind of like moving like that. It is going to move up 30 feet next to Dahlgrim. And it is going to make a claw attack against him, which is blocked by his shield somehow.
I was holding it in the right spot.
Yep. Taking us to the other Scarecrow. Oh, man. Here we go. This Scarecrow also is going to rip up its foot and jerkingly move across the battlefield to Dahlgrim. It is going to make a claw attack against him as well, scoring a critical hit.
Oh no.
Oh.
Dahlgrim, you receive 6 points of slashing damage. You must succeed on another wisdom saving throw, of which you get a natural 20, taking us to Earnest Sputer.
Reminder to spay and speeder all your cats and dogs. Everybody.
So that's actually how it came up, because
Okay. Sorry.
no. I'll tell it not streaming. It's funny, but
So Ernest is gonna leap out from the bushes here,
Okay.
pull out his short swords as he's running, and target Scarecrow 2, and make a melee attack against him.
Your
Probably a miss.
sword goes wide, cutting through the air, these jerking movements of the Scarecrow making it hard to determine where to hit. You miss.
All right, offhand attack. Yikes, that's not a good start.
Same thing. Another miss.
I got 5 feet of movement. I do not want to use it. That's it.
All right, Scarecrow 3 is going to turn its attention to Soshani Sputer. It moves up right next to her and is going to make a claw attack, which is a hit on a 15. Soshani, you take 7. Why did that roll twice?
because you hate me.
No, you should only be taking 5 points of damage. That was weird. It must have saved a critical hit. All right, 5 points of slashing damage to you, Soshani, taking us to Rubicon.
Okay. I'm gonna cast Firebolt at right, targeting.
Control click. There you go.
Let's see though. There we go. Okay. Firebolt.
Your bolt of fire erupts from your outstretched palm, smacking straight into the Scarecrow. Go ahead and roll me damage. It quickly erupts in flames, completely covering its body in a torrent of flame, burning to the ground. You have killed the Scarecrow, and you also notice it dealt more damage than you would suspect.
Nice.
Anything else, Rubicon? You still have a bonus action and movement.
No, let's, sorry. I'm trying to find that box. There it is. I'm done.
Okay. Rufus, you've received initiative. What are you doing?
How much do these scarecrows look like a campfire?
The one on flames is definitely like in a little pile of flames that's burning nicely.
So in other words, trying to use druid craft to light a fire on the other scarecrow would probably be a little bit much, or
Let's see.
not really a damaged spell.
It's just sensory effect, so it wouldn't actually be a fire. It would just have the sensory effect of a fire.
Of a fire, okay. All right, well, so in that case, the moment that I see the scarecrow kind of slash at Soshani and her maybe react to that, I'm going to rage. Rage. What the fuck are you doing? And I just like start like screaming and running towards the closest. Yeah, so I've got 25 feet, so I'll run. I'll fly 10 feet above the ground, 5 feet above the ground, and like my big burly, like you can see my red chest hair, like getting like erect. Even it's like getting all like fluffy as he's coming close to his like his muscles, his tiny little chest muscles are like bulging with little veins popping out. You can see him almost stretching against his tight, poorly worn suspenders, and he's gonna kind of clutch his spear straight into the chest of this scarecrow.
That's awesome.
Oh shit, wait, wrong one, fuck.
I can drag that to it, or if you want to target it, and then you can re-roll that.
Yeah, target, sorry. Why isn't it not targeting here?
You're targeting it.
I am? Okay.
You just took it off now. Click it again. There, now you're targeting.
Okay.
When you're right next to it, it doesn't have that arrow.
You can see it in the combat tracker. It'll show you your current selected targets.
Alright, go ahead and roll that damage once again for us.
Wait, so
Or,
I
the attack.
I need to
say
write
the
it.
attack.
I'm still struggling to get. There we go.
You hit with a 13
Whoa.
roll damage.
Wah, wah.
5 points of piercing damage. Reduced to 2 as it is partially resisted.
And that'll be it for my turn. Combat tracker.
Alright, so Shani, what are you doing?
So Shani, for a split moment, like her eyes widen as she sees this usually flitting, like not quite timid, but almost anxious fairy, like just scream and charge. And she gets this look upon her face of ready to fight, and she drops her useless crossbow that I never would have taken out if I'd paid attention. And she whips out her scimitar, and she stabs forward at the scarecrow with her scimitar.
Okay. That is a hit with a 22.
Nice.
Max damage.
8 points of slashing damage as it cuts in, not quite dealing as much as you would imagine. Nonetheless, the scarecrow bursts its twigs and straw, ripping apart into 2 upon the ground in front of you. You have slain the scarecrow.
All right, and she turns to Rufus. Simply one more to eliminate. I've never seen foes such as this.
Rufus is not listening to that. He's just screaming at this point. Yeah.
And for her bonus action, seeing the blood pouring forth from Dalgarim, she will actually cast Healing Word.
Okay. Dalgrim, you feel this rejuvenating energy surge into you, restoring 5 hit points. And it is now your turn. You have awoken from your paralyzing fear. What do?
Alright, I shake off my stunned reaction, and I ragefully swing my hammer at this nearest scarecrow.
Alright.
And where am I actually attacking from here? I'm not seeing the button.
Okay, so on your character sheet, if you go to your actions tab, at the very top are all of your weapons. So the dice with the +6, that is your hand axe. The warhammer is also a +6.
Yep, got it.
So you double click on that. Oh, I thought that was going to be a 20. You have 2 inspirations if you want to use it.
Yeah, oh, yes, I do. Absolutely.
Okay, go ahead and roll once again.
Yeah, I definitely should have used mine last turn.
That is a hit with a 23. So then you roll the damage, which is that 1d8 + 4 bludgeoning button. 5 points of damage. Not quite dealing as much as you would suppose. Your warhammer cracks into the side of the scarecrow, but it just jerkingly kind of moves its body and moves back into an erect position. Anything else, Dahlgrim?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so then on the combat tracker, if you could end your turn.
Yep.
Scarecrow 2 is going to turn its head with a great crack right at Ernest, which will cause a wisdom saving throw as its red piercing eyes glow. Ernest, you are now frightened and paralyzed in fear.
Ernest shut his eyes.
You cannot. Ernest, that will
Paralyzed.
take your turn. Rubicon, what are you doing?
Firebolt.
That is a hit. Another firebolt. Go ahead and roll damage. As this ball of fire, this bolt comes shooting out, smacking into the scarecrow. How do you want to do this?
So seeing this thing freak out Ernest, I don't know, this is inspiration, like a spring will out of me comes out of my fingertips, and I try to thread the needle right between Ernest and Dahlgrim to crush this thing.
Awesome. As the bolt goes right through them in the middle of combat, perfectly aimed, the scarecrow erupts in flames just like the other and creates a nice little bonfire upon the ground. Congratulations, you have defeated this scarecrow.
Boom! Scratch 3!
Ambush.
So Shiny would immediately pick up her crossbow. Before Nicole forgets.
Okay.
And Rufus is gonna fly to the top of a tree, like panting like a little cat that's been playing too much.
I was saying, then her next thing was going to go over to Ernest, but he already came over.
Yeah. Sis, you alright?
I'm doing fine, brother. How are you? They seem to have given you quite the fright in the middle of that.
Oh, well, the only thing hurts my pride. I kind of missed those 2 swings, and then I was kind of useless after that. Did you forget you didn't have any bolts? That's why I asked back in the town if we needed anything.
I've sworn I packed some bolts from home. Did you take them out of my pack?
I'd never steal from you, sis.
Well, I'm not stealing. I'm talking of your pranking that you do on occasion. Either way, it is what it is.
Dahlgrim, are you in one piece?
I think so.
That looked pretty bad.
Just a scratch or 2.
Tis just a flesh wound.
So Shani would scan the area and even venture slightly into the woods to see if she sees anything else.
Nice
right.
job, Dahlgrim. You're a lot tougher than me.
Once I regained my will to move, that is.
Yeah, these enemies seem to be more than meets the eye.
Indeed, it is as if something came over me. I'm not easily taken to fright.
Yeah, you don't strike me as someone who scares easily. We all need to be careful when we're looking at these creatures in the eye.
Well, the next time we find them, it might be better if we just closed our eyes.
seems like a really fucking stupid idea, but I don't know, guys. This place is fucking weird. There's scarecrow everywhere. Where are we going? Like, where is everybody?
Let's go check back in with Stanimir.
Yep, the wagon caravan is back towards the east.
Shani
your position.
Was she briefly?
Yep.
We need to tell them that they were not friendly. That was what we were doing. Investigating whether these things
yeah, not friendly.
Turns out they weren't friendly.
Turns out they're not friendly.
Or bad.
Believe it or not. Quick question, DM, how are we tracking stress?
So I have your stuff here. You look at the combat tracker, I have them just hidden from you. Cause like what I was doing is I was keeping track of it. So that it's not like everybody's trying to learn like a new tabletop, some of their characters and everything. But I can definitely make that visible if you guys want to see them.
Well, I think if it's something we're going to be doing during this, I think it would be good to see it.
Okay, yeah, I just didn't want to overload, but yeah, if you guys want them visible, as long as it's not like...
I say, unless we want to say like, for the first, couple of, few sessions, we don't want to do it, but I think if we're going to track it, I think I would like to see it.
Okay, yeah, I just don't like, it can get pretty busy on the combat tracker.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but yeah,
I like it so far. Yeah.
And then I have your stress levels, so those are the breaking points.
That's good to know.
And then our current stress is after the colon on stress. So if I don't see anything, that means there's no
Correct.
stress right now. Got it. Okay, cool.
Correct. Okay.
I mean, obviously I'm not stressed right now. Shit was fine.
It's not a big deal. Yeah, he just roasted all three of those.
Some scarecrows just came out of nowhere and started attacking us and blew them away, right?
Rubicon's just like blowing off his...
Yeah. Dahlgrim glares.
So Shani does look to Ernest. I do feel tired after that fight, even though it was a simple one, brother.
Well, let's go check back in with the Vistani. Hopefully they didn't get attacked neither.
All right, Goofy the dog. Perfect.
Oh,
Thank you, DM. That's all I can think.
I've been doing it the whole time. Like, yes, it's country mixed in with Goofy.
I know, but it's all Nicole, can think of when you talk.
Goofy country.
I've got Ernest and Goofy. That's kind of what I've got going.
Uh-huh.
All right, so you make your way back to the wagon caravan, and the Vistani are kind of like, just leaning out from their wagons, from their seats. They haven't really touched ground. They were kind of just waiting. Stanimir, I heard sounds of battle. What happened?
Apparently, there's a living scarecrow here.
Rufus is gonna fly up to the leader and kind of very aggressively fly into his face. What the fuck are you guys doing? You just setting us up for a trap? We go out there, we do all your dirty work for us, and then you come here and you just say, oh wait, looking behind your pleasant little carriage, wondering what happened. We did all the hard work. I mean, I stabbed this thing, and then this other guy got beat up by this weird kind of monster. What the fuck is going on here? I'm just all over the place, 1,000 different directions, kind of buzzing around this guy, trying to get pissed off in his face.
Yeah, he's just holding the reins of the horses in front of his wagon. Oh, my apologies. I didn't know. It is quite common. This is a dangerous area. I do thank you for taking care of the threats, though. I wish I would have known sooner. Sorry.
Yeah, that doesn't really make me feel a whole lot better. And then Rufus just kind of gets all pissed off and flies up above the carriage and kind of sulks up on top of this thing.
If it is any consolation, you handled yourself quite well.
Oh, how would you know? You weren't even there.
Yeah, I always handle myself pretty well.
Well, you're all still alive.
No thanks to you, pal.
Shall we continue?
Aye, let's get rolling.
It's only just up above. You'll see. We are almost there. Plenty of time for rest once we reach our encampment.
We take a breather while we're in the caravan.
Yes, you can.
I was gonna say, so Shani is gonna like curl up almost like a cat. She doesn't fall asleep, but she's just resting.
So, anyone that wants to roll a hit die may roll one single hit die while taking this breather. So the way you do that is you go to your main tab on your character sheet and you double click on the die on the bottom where it says HD.
Oh, nice. I rolled just enough to regain all of them.
Ooh, max.
Damn. Dahlgrim overheals. Yes. All right. So everybody is up to full health.
That means you get some temporary HP, right?
No.
I wish.
Maybe we can have a feat for that.
Ooh, I like that idea.
I'm not really a foot person.
All right. Traveling on, you come to a crossroads. The road splits off to the northwest and to the southwest. Stanimir points the caravan to the northwestern road. But nonetheless, off in the distance, almost as if the Vistani didn't even notice it, there is an old wooden gallows creaking in a chill wind that blows down from the high ground to the west. A frayed length of rope dances from its beam. The well-worn road splits here. The signpost opposite the gallows points off in three directions. Barovia village to the east, Ser Pool to the northwest, and Ravenloft Valaki to the southwest. The northwest fork slants down and disappears into trees, while the southwest fork clings to an upward slope. Across from the gallows, a low wall, crumbling in places, partially encloses a small plot of graves, shrouded in fog. And as you begin to travel along the road taking to the woods, where is noted Ser Pool, you hear a creaking noise behind you, coming from the gallows. Where there was nothing before, now hangs a lifeless, gray body. The breeze turns the hanged figure slowly in the wind, so that it fixes dead eyes upon you. Rufus, you recognize yourself hanging there.
What the fuck is that?
To all the rest of you, it's just a gray dead body you don't recognize.
What the fuck? Don't you guys see that? It's got wings just like mine.
Oh, I think you need to check your eyes there, friend. That's just a human, I think. He squints and starts like looking.
Seems to be just a standard body to me as well.
No,
See,
no, you guys aren't looking good. It's like exactly like me. It's got the red wings. This is freaking me out. Someone needs to go check that out. Yeah, Ernest, you should go look at that body and see if it actually looks like me or not. Not.
Ernest shrugs. Well, all right, I guess. Quick look-see couldn't hurt. steps down from the caravan real quick, kind of does a jog over to the base of the gallows.
So Shani would like wordlessly follow him. She sees him move and she'll kind of but she does go with him.
Okay.
And Ernest would like to investigate the hanging corpse that appeared out of nowhere.
Okay. Also, quick note: Squeege has redeemed a Twitch advantage for you, Soshani.
Aw, thanks, Squeege. You're the best.
Okay. Ernest, as you step down and you move over, you feel this chill on your back. You feel exposed out here in the wilds. Your time with the Scarecrow, its piercing, glowing red eyes still kind of plays in the back of your mind, and you find yourself looking about, trying to see more enemies, more creatures, more danger. But nonetheless, you move up to this gallows, and still, just as like before, you don't recognize the figure. It's just a dead body starting to decompose.
What do you see over there, man?
Ernest will call back. Well, it still just looks like a body. He'll start like kind of circling around the gallows, like staying about 10 feet away from it.
Yeah, but check the wings, though, right? The wings, they're just like mine. I can see them.
Rufus, I don't know what you're talking about, man. There's no wings on this thing.
Right, at that, I'm gonna sort of tentatively fly over to the gallowed hanging body.
All right.
I say Soshani does. Can I roll to see if Soshani notices her brother's lingering stress?
Yeah, you can roll an insight. As well, the hanging body, limply in the wind, its head kind of lolled like this. It has pale, milky white eyes, like that of death, but they always remain fixated on you. The body moving in the wind, constantly turning to stay facing each one of you. So each one of you has that kind of sensation. Yeah, so Sani, you sense Ernest's stress.
Okay, so while he's circling around and looking around, she would put a hand on his shoulder. Be at ease, brother. You are not alone. I will be here with you.
I'm gonna poke the eyes with my spear in a sort of investigatory but somewhat malicious sort of fashion too. Like, I really want to poke these eyes. You know what I mean?
Okay. Rufus, you fly and hovering about the ground, kind of moving this way and that. This unnatural corpse just making everything in this land so much worse. What could this mean? It looks exactly like you. As you reach out your spear, closer and closer, finally prodding the body, it begins melting away. Bits of flesh sloughing off, falling to the gallows, until just the skeleton remains, and then it just disappears into mist.
My fucking god, and I'm gonna run back to the carriage.
Is that just for him, or is that for all of us?
That's all of you see that.
Brother, perhaps we should stop lingering here.
Ernest pulls out like an amulet that he has around his neck and starts praying.
She will kind of push him gently from behind towards the caravan.
Going, sis. As he, between words.
There's no movement fast enough to get away from whatever that was.
Did you guys see that? I mean, I stabbed it with this spear, and it dissolved.
This land is
anybody-
full of unnatural occurrence.
Is that the kind of shit that happens here all the time? Because, fuck.
Well, we could always ask the Vistani.
Yeah, you should probably do that. I don't trust that old fuck, though.
When you get back to the wagon, Stanimir says, "So, you see the gallows." Tell me,
Yeah, we
which
see the...
which one of you saw yourself?
Yeah, it was just like me. I had the wings. I mean, maybe that, the face was different. Those eyes, man, that's not alright. Those eyes were nasty.
Is an omen. Many see, but not all. I would take great pains to be cautious in these lands.
Oh, thanks for the advice, pal. Yeah, I think the scarecrow trying to kill us in that weird stick thing, that kind of clued me in a little bit. Any other bright ideas for me to follow?
If anyone is listening, you would hear Soshani have a deep, she's growling, but it is indecipherable from a dog or wolf. Deep in her chest, she is growling.
These lands, how you say, have a mind of their own. They are living much like we. May see some things that aren't there. Hell, you may not see some things that are there.
Perhaps.
But what does this mean, man? So I saw myself hanging from the gallows. So, is that gonna happen to me now?
I cannot say. Perhaps Madame Eva would know. She knows many things. I would ask her when we get there.
Yeah, she's right around the corner. They're just 15 minutes from now. Sure, we'll be there any day. The sarcasm is pretty thick, yeah.
Is there anything else you would like to give us a forewarning of before you explain about what it might be after we encounter it?
Many things you must see for yourself.
Like me hanging from my own gallows, I guess.
Guys, this is a dark land. We gotta stick together and stay true to our faiths.
Is Rufus near Soshani? Next to, near at all?
I don't know, that's up to Rufus.
Rufus?
I'm just close to Stanimir still, I guess. I was still hounding him. I'm on top of the carriage or around where he's at.
Okay.
So should we get going to this Ava lady then? And maybe she can tell me why I found myself hanging?
Yes. Perhaps we should all simply rest within the caravans we were provided. Maybe not seeing our surroundings will be better for us.
Yeah, I don't want to hang out here anymore.
Yeah, the sooner we're off the road, the better. Let's get to where we're going.
Right.
So she would retreat into... Never mind, just nix that.
Alright, so you continue on once again. After about an hour and 15 minutes, or about an hour and 30 minutes of travel, the road gradually disappears and is replaced by a twisted, muddy path through the trees. Deep ruts in the earth are evidence of the coming and goings of many wagons. The canopy of mist and branches suddenly gives way to black clouds boiling far above. There is a clearing here, next to a river that widens to form a small lake several hundred feet across. 5 colorful round tents, each 10 feet in diameter, are pitched outside a ring of 4 barrel-topped wagons. A much larger tent stands near the shore of the lake, its sagging form lit from within. Near this tent, 8 unbridled horses drink from the river. The mournful strains of an accordion clash with the singing of several brightly clad figures around a bonfire. A footpath continues beyond this encampment, meandering north between the river and the forest edge. And this is where we will take our first break.
Like real life break?
Yeah, real life break.
Okay, perfect.
Cool.
All right, so let us come back in like 3 to 5 minutes. I will leave a vote in the table, so whenever you get back and you're ready to go, you're ready
Sounds
to begin.
Sounds good.
Just click that.
All right.
All right.
Take soon.
BRB.
So, you have come to this part by a large lake. An encampment. Which I will now place you all on the map. So you should all see a map right now?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. Stanimir brings his wagons about and stops around the camp. And the many Vistani go out and greet each other, giving hugs and celebration. The music is lively. They are having a good time around their fire right now, as best as you can see. And at this time, you may all move about the map as you see fit.
Dahlgrim looks around for anybody pouring wine or ale.
There's definitely some wine and ale.
He gets himself a mug of ale and pulls up next to the fire.
All right. A number of the Vistani kind of look to you with odd looks like, oh, who are these? But it's not like unfriendly. All the same, you know, oh, you wish to share of our drink? Come, help yourself. Some of them might be a little bit more inebriated than others, but they're all kind of talking in exchange. There's one doing an accordion. You go by the fire, and you overhear a Vistani saying a tale. Ah, yes. Mighty wizard came to this land over a year ago. I remember him like it was yesterday. Stood exactly where you're standing. And he actually points to you, Dahlgrim. A very charismatic man he was. He thought he could rally the people of Barovia against this devil Strahd, stirring them with thoughts of revolt. Bore them to the castle en masse. When the vampire appeared, the wizard's peasant army fled in terror. Few stood their ground and were never seen again. The wizard and the vampire cast spells at each other. The battle flew from the courtyards of Ravenloft to the precipice overlooking the force. I saw the battle with my own 2 eyes. Thunder shook the mountainside, and great rocks tumbled down upon the wizard. Yet by his magic he survived. Lightning from the heavens struck the wizard, and again he stood his ground. But when the devil Strahd fell upon him, the wizard's magic couldn't save him. I saw him thrown 1,000 feet to his death. I climbed down the river myself to search for his body, to see if, he had anything of value. And a number of the other Vistani laugh at this. But the river Ivlis had already claimed him, spiriting him away. They say he's still out there somewhere. I hear tales of his comings and goings. They say he is mad. I have not seen him myself since, though. Ah, but I welcome you, travelers. Pray tell, where are you from? What brings you to our camp?
You're muted, babe. Say, Rubicon.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, we came with Stanimir. He brought us to this place to speak to, was it Lady Ava?
Stanimir! Oh, that old devil is here, eh? Stanimir, where are you? And he goes around looking for the man himself.
Now, I saw someone pour some ale. Would it be possible if me and my friends could have a drink? We had a little trouble on the road. And, I don't know if you want me to use persuasion or not, or I'm happy to do that.
Nah. Yes, help yourself. We have plenty of wine. Can't say we carry much ale. We have a taste for something different.
Wine is fine.
Then, yes, Stanimir comes out. Well met, cousin. Yes, they have come for Madame Ava. Is she available? Depends on your meaning of available. And then he kind of like gives him the elbow nudge. She's in her tent over there. And he points to a large tent off closer to the pool. Then Stanimir.
Stanimir. Say, Stanimir, you said we were to meet her, right?
Oh, yes. By all means, see into her tent. I must make acquaintance with some of my cousins here. You are welcome to go, as you choose.
One other quick note. Down back by that crossroads, I saw a sign. That sign said Valaki. What's a Valaki?
Valaki is one of the villages here in Barovia. We passed the village of Barovia earlier. Valaki is more eastern. Or more western.
Rufus is gonna fly above the tent that the guy motioned to and just kind of look around, sneaky as possible.
Okay, so you're above the tent, you're not actually going in?
Not actually in yet, just trying to look in, look around, look on top, hear for things.
Okay. Make me a perception check.
My favorites.
All right.
All right.
Your senses are definitely kind of fried a little bit. The anxiety and the imminent danger kind of taking its toll on you. You find your mind often wandering to like, where's the next danger coming from? And though you try to like look around to see what you can figure out, you don't hear anything from within the tent.
What the fuck, is that a horse out there? Shit. Yeah.
Well, Chance, what do you say? Let's go meet this Madame Ava.
So Shani simply nods to her brother.
We'll walk politely around the camp.
Algrim grunts, annoyed that he should have to get up away from his drink so quickly after sitting down.
Well, bring it with you, big guy.
Oh, he does. He just kind of plows his way through the crowd, following you all into the tent.
He's had a long day.
He almost died.
Only once.
And
He's only almost.
I mean, he's fine.
What, did you die?
Rufus is not going to go inside, but he's going to hang upside down, trying to listen in if they do go in the tent.
Okay.
Hang, that says that, right? In Hangover?
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Hang.
Okay. As you edge closer to this tent, you can kind of feel the sense of importance. It's definitely off to the side, a tent of prominence. And when you kind of look inside, the tent flap itself is opened. You don't see any outward sign of welcome, but you get a feeling like you should go inside.
That's what he said.
Alright, let's head in.
Going in.
Okay.
Ernest to follow.
No, and so Shani would follow her brother.
A lot of people in a little tent. The thing's only 3x2.
Magic flames cast a reddish glow over the interior of this tent, revealing a low table covered in black velvet cloth. Glints of light seem to flash from a crystal ball on the table as a hunched figure peers into its depths. As the crone speaks, her voice crackles like dry weeds. At last, you have arrived. Cackling laughter bursts like mad lightning from her withered lips.
What do you mean at last?
Fate has an odd way of taking you exactly where you are meant to be, whether you like it or not.
Well then, do you have any sort of glimpses into our fate? You were expecting us, and surely you have an eye or two for it.
If that is your pleasure, your wish, I will grant it. I have answers to give you, though you may not like all that you learn. You see an odd deck of cards upon the table. A little bigger than you're used to, and with an odd backside. But they seem to be rather important, for they are the only thing on the table besides the crystal ball. So, have you come to learn your future?
Right, so with a sort of soft thump to the ground, Rufus kind of stops flying, lands, and then sort of briskly walks towards Ava. And is like, yeah, I want to know why there's a fucking me hanging from a gallows about an hour away from here.
Rufus, this land is not so kind to you, is it?
Yeah, no, but neither is it to these scarecrows either.
Your past is at odds with your present, though they combine to your future. I
What
think
do
you
you
will.
know about my past?
I know that thing on your neck right there is not from your world. It is not from our world either.
With
Though
that, Rufus
you
starts,
may.
like,
Go ahead.
scratching as goes. He starts scratching at that thing like inadvertently at his neck. You see him like sort of tugging on it nervously.
It could be both a blessing and a curse here. Only time will tell. And you.
Wait.
And then she kind of moves on. And you, Soshani, Ernest, brother and sister, from a fractured past.
Oh, yep, that's us.
So Shani stays quiet, but her hand goes to the hilt of her scimitar.
The terrors of your childhood are nothing in comparison to that of this land. The darkness you have come to vanquish will pale the comparison of your horrors. You have escaped only to come face to face with an even worse terror. And the bright one. And she looks to Rubicon. Rubicon! Do they know yet? Have you told them?
We haven't had a whole lot of time to talk, ma'am. We've been getting attacked on the road. Is that normal in this part of the world?
She nods her head up and down. This
Told us
is
what? Dahlgrim pipes in.
This is a dangerous land.
Everywhere is full of danger.
Rubicon, your long abandoned search will pick up once again. You will find that which you seek, though learning the truth may hurt more than leaving it be. And Dahlgrim Darkstar, wanderer of many different lands and hospitalities. The question for which you are in search of will lead you down to an even darker hole than you could imagine. Darker than any you have been in before.
Dahlgrim clenches his jaw and just sort of scowls at such comment.
And then she places a hand on the deck of cards. So, you wish to know what is in your future? I will ask one last time. If this is your wish, I will do so.
Oh, I can't see the harm in it. If it helps us fight this Strahd von Horowitz guy, why not?
Brother, hold. If we simply ask her for her future, she will tell us whatever she wants. It may just be a gruesome way we die, and she may not verify whether that's in 2 days or 200 years. Do not leave that open-ended, brother.
Well, do we get to actually ask a question? Or is she just going to give us some sort of fortune?
That is a wise question. As you know, I've spent enough time with... She kind of hesitates and briefly looks over to, Rufus. Smooth-tongued folk that will answer your question, but find every way they can telling you the truth without giving you your answer.
Oh, my guess here is these cards on this table have some sort of divination magic on them. Think of them like bones or wishing sticks. She shuffles them or says some sort of incantation and then activate. Give us a little glimpse into one of our potential futures.
You were always the smart one, weren't you?
I'm just a little well-read, that's all.
And she begins shuffling. Your fates have already been foretold. I am but a reader. I have no advice to give, only an ability to see that which has already been decided. And learning one's fate is rarely a pleasurable experience. Many do not accept the fates they have been given, for we are shown much, but told very little. I will now read yours. It makes no difference whether you choose to listen or to go. It will come to be all the same.
Oh, anyone want to volunteer?
And then she stops shuffling. The deck is then split into two, placing one section at the center of the table. The other she holds in her other hand. It is from this hand she pulls the top card, laying it face down to the left of the center deck. A second is pulled, placed above, and a third to the right. She removes the deck from her hand from sight, and then leans over the table, now meeting your gaze. Her eyes have become glossy, foggy even. They shift and swirl delicately like the fog encountered within Daggerford, but milky white. But you know for certain, she sees you. She may even be seeing into you. It makes you quite uncomfortable. She then moves a hand to hover over the left card. Each card tells of history. Knowledge of the ancient will help you better understand your enemy. She flips it. It displays a man in nice clothing, and it has a 4 and a marking of like coins on it. This is the 4 of coins, the merchant. Seek a cask that once contained the finest wine, of which not a drop remains. She then hovers over the card placed above the center deck. This card tells of a powerful force for good and protection. A holy symbol of great hope. She flips it. A man like an executioner. A hood pulled above his head so that you cannot see his features. There is a 7 and a symbol of crossed swords. The 7 of swords. The hooded one. I see a faceless god. He awaits you at the end of a long and winding road deep in the mountains. Then, the right-placed card. This is a card of power and strength. It tells of a weapon of vengeance, a sword of sunlight. She flips it to reveal a torturer. There is a torturing rack and a man with an iron rod poking it into its stomach. there is a 9 and another pair of crossed swords. 9 of swords, the torturer. There is a town where all is not well. There you will find a house of corruption, and within a dark room full of still ghosts. She looks up to all of you, her milky white eyes turning from one to the next. Concern washes over her features. She pauses for a moment, and then continues to take the top card off of the central deck and hold it face down. She looks up at you once again, a frown of concern held upon her face. This card sheds light on one who will help you greatly in the battle against the darkness. She flips it. A beautiful woman on a bed, leaning provocatively to one side, one arm held out. The Tempter. I hear a wedding bell, or perhaps a death knell. It calls thee to a mountainside abbey, wherein you will find a woman who is more than the sum of her parts. And she now hovers a shaking hand above the center deck. And in a trembling voice, barely audible now, she whispers, "Your enemy is a creature of darkness, whose powers are beyond mortality. This card will lead you to him." She flips it quickly, placing it face up upon the top deck. A man with a collar and a very large executioner's axe. The executioner. I see a dark figure on a balcony, looking down upon this tortured land with a twisted smile. She gasps. It is foretold. She stares at the cards with intense focus. Suspense hangs on the air. You notice now how deathly quiet the outside of the tent has become. Her cloudy eyes begin to crystallize as the fog fades away. Her demeanor returns to normal, or as close to normal as you can tell. She shakes her head lightly as if waking from a dream. She looks up at each of you and back to the cards. A long sigh as if from a hard day of labor escapes her mouth. And she sits back in her chair, exhausted. You have a long road ahead of you. The way will be difficult. But I have seen something else. If there is more answers to which you seek, you must search for them in the village of Barovia. There you will find a house who has stood for centuries upon its own ashes, built from fire, ash, and death. The answers you will need are within. Now, please, you must leave me. Share the campfire with me brethren around. We have food and ale and wine to share. I must rest. I am tired. And then she takes all the cards, puts them back in the deck, and sets it upon the table.
In this commotion, Ernest had taken out his pen and Quillen was feverishly taking notes.
So I will be putting all that in the player notes for all of you, so that you have all that information.
Cool.
Rufus is gonna walk over to Ava and sort of like pull on her pant leg or skirt leg or whatever it is, and be like, so really there's nothing you can do about this thing on my neck?
Rufus. All will come in time. Follow the path laid before you, and that steel will be removed. Though the price you may pay to remove it would be high. I do not have the capabilities myself, but I tell you this. Remain on your path.
Brilliant. He's just gonna kind of storm out in a huff.
So Shani remained quiet throughout. Her hand did never left her resting on the handle of her scimitar, and when Ernest leaves, she'll follow him out silently again.
Dahlgrim, as he's getting ready to leave, just looks around the tent for anything interesting or notable that might stand out to him.
Make me a perception check in the dice tower, please.
Here we go.
My keyboard is being really fucking weird. Dahlgrim, looking about the tent, you don't notice much. Oddly, it's filled with like shadows, and you really have to like kind of peer to look through them. But thanks to your dark vision, you're able to easily kind of see around. It's pretty nondescript. This is a large tent. There's like an area in the back where she must sleep, a little like cot bed. But other than that, it's really just the table, the crystal ball, the deck of cards, and then a small chest by the foot of her bed. Nothing else in here.
All right, I grumble and make my way out of the flap.
Rubicon says, "Ma'am, that was a nifty trick. I'd love to learn that sometime." And I leave the building, or leave the tent.
Okay. So if you want to just give me a minute to get all of this in the Discord, go ahead and feel free to roleplay.
Yeah, so what the fuck are we doing now?
A great question.
Well, it seems like a bit of a riddle. She gave us some hints on how we can better deal with this Strahd character.
Or she did give us just enough information to mislead us.
What else do we have to go
what she
on?
said.
We don't know this land.
Is the village of Barovia not the one we passed through an hour before?
Is
It
it-
is.
Is Barovia on a mountain? Because there was some mention of a mountain town, wasn't there?
No. So there was a mention of a faceless god awaiting us at the end of a long, windy road deep into the mountain. I think that was in reference to some sort of weapon that can help us, I think. And then there was another one with the ally that could help us, Some sort of woman that's in a mountainside abbey who's more than the sum of her parts. I'm not sure exactly what that means.
If you
What about where
remember-
all those fucking guys were being tortured? That's what I think. That's what I need. That's freaking me out. Well, there's somewhere where they're being tortured somewhere in a room. I couldn't quite hear everything she was saying.
And then as far as the village of Barovia goes, that's the one we just passed. She said to find a house that has stood for centuries? Man, I can't think of many houses that do that. They're usually made of wood.
Well, if anything, if it would be something in the categories of our knowledge, I believe it would be to the castle that Stanimir told us about. He did tell us about some ruler's name. What was it? Strahd. Perhaps he is the one being unfair to his village folk. I don't like to mistrust people intentionally, but I did warn you. You can give what might seem as completely direct information and still be leading the other way. Interpretation is a dangerous act.
Well, it seems like Barovia is the closest of the... We don't even know where these other two things are. The Mountain Abbey and wherever this faceless god thing is. So,
Aye.
Barovia seems like our only actionable destination. And we need to ask more questions, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, does
Well, I
anybody
think
else
you're-
know where we're going? Does
Well,
anybody else know where this is?
I think you're onto something there. I think we need a map. Absolutely need a map. And some more knowledge of the different areas in these parts. Perhaps we can piece together some of these clues. Without it, like you guys said, we're running around blind. Perhaps the Vistani have a map? Or maybe the village of Barovia does?
Stanimir did seem to indicate we could buy things at a hefty price, at least, in Barovia, the village of Barovia.
Well, we don't have to buy it necessarily. I do got a pen and some paper. I can make a rough copy.
Or we could just fucking take it.
Well, there, little guy. Let's not get too hasty.
I mean, how long is it going to take you to write out this map? I say we just find some people that know where we're going, and yeah, we go there.
How about we see if any of the things she told us means anything to any of these other Vistani? Perhaps we don't need to go all the way back to Barovia before we can start sorting out some of these clues.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, be on your guard with that idea, because remember, there were some among the ones we traveled with that wished to leave us behind to the wolves.
Fair point.
Well, and these people self-admittedly work for Strahd. I mean, they clearly want out from under his thumb, but who knows how much they can help us.
And perhaps they would give us faulty information or not provide us information fully because they do not want to be framed should things go south.
Well, so Shani, you had talked about getting a rest in. I could use one myself. What if we... I mean, if we don't think that questioning the people here is going to be any good, I think at the very least, what we should do soon is long rest and then head back to Barovia.
I just believe if we are to question, then perhaps the best way to approach it would be to ask our leading host, Stanimir, who has had our defense, who he suggests we may be able to trust. He has not seemed to let us astray thus far.
Agree.
Plan.
And she looks to her brother. What think you, Ernest?
Think I need to go ask some questions. Say feel free to come along with, but yeah, I think I'm gonna have a chat with Stanimir. He seems to be the most helpful, and maybe he can give us some directions.
So Shiny will nod, and as always, I will be at your side, brother.
today.
Alright, so I should have it all put in the Discord, so you have that card reading along with you. And yeah, I am ready. So, what are we doing?
Hey, Stanimir.
Yes. He's got some like dribble on his mouth. He seems to have drank a bit of wine while you were away at your card reading.
Do you guys happen to have like a map that we could copy or borrow around here?
No maps. They are very difficult to come by. Many people do not travel. Only us Vistani really move about. You would be hard pressed to find a map at all.
Know you these lands that you could provide us the information? We could write our own map.
I suppose we could perhaps give you a rough idea. We know these lands pretty well. Come here. Eason. Come. And then one of the other Vistani come over. Eason, you know these lands pretty well. Tell them of it. Perhaps draw in the ground. Then Eason actually takes out like a stick and begins drawing a rough image of the land. See if I can do that. My all right. So, well, you follow the road that came out, village of Barovia, right here. I can even know how to do it myself.
I say now we find out Nomad's cartography skills.
I'm not gonna write all that. You have the river that cuts across the Serpool, which we are right here, moves to another lake. Serpool's right here. The road cuts through, comes to our camp, and it continues around this way. The road goes to a fork, cuts across a bridge. There is another gateway. You will want to move through this area quite quickly, for the Devil's Castle is atop here. Do not go there. You will die.
Solid advice there, bud.
That's a good advice.
Continues through here, many woods going off the town of Valaki, right here next to a very large lake. We call that Lake Zarovich. There is another river that cuts across, let's see, there's a little small lake right there. Goes down. This is the Luna River. And the Luna Lake over in this area. The Tsolenka Pass is over in that area. Let's see. There are ruins over near here. I believe the ruins of Berez, perhaps. Oh,
What
and
is,
by the...
what is that? Is that town or is that a castle?
It's an old town now taken over by swamp. I would stay away from that area. Quite dangerous.
Well, this place isn't dangerous.
True. There's many dangers in this area. Great mountain over next to those ruins, and oh yeah, by the gates there is a windmill. Quite a notable landmark. Right there. And then following the old Schwalik road, I hear tell that if you follow a road out kind of towards in this direction, much west of Valaki, there is another kind of old ruins. I do not know the name, I must say, but another dangerous area. I suggest staying away from there. We don't go there. And then the Raven River cuts across to another lake, Bartok. There is a tower. Can't say I know anybody inhabits it, but there is a tower there. The road might take you. There's a few trails going through the woods. Again, very dangerous. I would say do not go there unless you absolutely have to. And then another town, Kresk. Off in the side. Kresk, not very hospitable. They don't like visitors. If you go by, they might let you in, but I think they would much rather run you off, just so you know. But, you must visit the Wizard of Wines. Very notable. That's where we get our wine, much of our wine from. The Wizards of Wines. Over here is a winery. I would visit there if I could. But don't go too far, because once again, there is a very dangerous area. It's called Yester Hill.
Oh, hold on there 1 second. That Wizards of Wine place, is that where you think we could find, like, the finest wine in the land?
Oh, yes. We have a meager, modest brew from the wine. It's not the best. But they have this one called Red Dragon Mash. It is so good. Ooh, you have to try it. I highly suggest visiting. And Yester Hill, remember, do not go too far. Yester Hill, that's where many of the druids are. You don't want to mess with them. They don't like people. They don't like outsiders. They don't like much at all.
Shani perks at druid.
Some sort of angry druids? They got sticks up their noses?
Very angry, very angry. And there is Mount Gakis down to the south, mountains. Very cold. I do not suggest going there. Again, very dangerous. Not necessarily for the creatures, but because it's hard to survive up in the cold. Solenka Pass is what crosses through there. So if you follow some of these roads, there's another that kind of winds through. I don't know what it does, but it crosses a bridge. There's Solenka Pass. Many dangers there. Again, do not go there unless you absolutely have to.
So you're saying there's a long, windy road that leads deep into the mountain?
Yes. Those are many of the areas around. There are Schwalik woods all around the place. You'll see it.
Hey pal, what's the oldest building in Barovia of the village?
The village of Barovia? I have no idea. We don't go there very often. But I do hear tales of an old house that many avoid.
Yeah, tell us more about that one.
It looks much like the rest. A nice little manor house. Whatever family owned it, they had quite a bit of money. But the villagers steer clear. I don't even think the houses surrounding it are inhabited.
So It is in the. I'm sorry, I can't talk. So it's in the village. It's not like up on the hill, like on the outside or something.
No, it's inside. The very old house. All the villagers say, like, if you ask about it, they don't like to talk about it, and they just tell you don't go there.
Starting to sound to me like none of you bothered helping yourselves.
Do you know any abbeys in this place?
Abbeys. Yes, there is an abbey. Let's see, where is it?
In the mountains, perhaps?
Yeah, I'm looking for it on my map. I'm not finding it.
A secret abbey.
Abbey of Saint Markovia.
In the western part of the map, Nomad.
I am looking for... I'm not seeing it. What the hell?
Rubicon says, I think I'm changing my vote.
I was too busy taking notes about the rest of the stuff. When she said to go to the village of Barovia and find the house that stood for centuries, did she say why again?
Kind of a vague, it will have answers for you.
Yeah.
That was it? Okay.
Yep. Why can't I find this? I see Solenka Pass, Yester Hill, Wizard of Wines.
Discord under player notes is the specifics. That's what he was taking time to do for us.
The Barovia village one is not in there.
What? Oh.
It just seems like
it's just our cards.
if we could get something that could help us, that seems...
Sorry, which one are you voting for now?
Well, I'm not sure exactly which one, but I'm thinking that one of the two options that would either get us a weapon that we need, or that would get us a helper that we could use. I just think that if we're going to go back to Barovia, and that's where this house is that everyone is avoiding.
So, notably though, where the wine merchant is, was described as one of the places that was not described immediately as horrifically dangerous.
Yes, that's a good point.
Is a source of knowledge, so I would also put that in the list of potential first stops.
Yeah, wine country sounds lovely.
So based off where we are in this map and everything else, the village of Barovia is by far the closest, and if we do want to go to it at some point, if we go to any of these other locations, it looks like we're going to have to backtrack a really, really, really long way.
That's fair.
So he does respond, I believe there's an abbey in Kresk.
In Kresk, that village you said that people just, shoo you away?
Yes, that's why I couldn't think of it before, because I've never been there myself. They don't let me in.
Well, I guess we'll have to find a way.
That one.
Can somebody please remind me where those people were being tortured?
Well,
does anybody
they described a dark figure looking on from a balcony. Didn't he just mention a tower?
Oh, you're thinking of the last one, Rufus, where your enemy is a creature of darkness whose powers are beyond mortality. This card will lead you to him. She pulled the Executioner card and said, I see a dark figure on a balcony looking down upon this tortured land with a twisted smile.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't pull one where there were like people actually getting tortured. It's kind of like saying like everybody here is kind of tortured.
Gotcha.
The tortured land. Yeah.
Well, and
So I don't think we should go there right now.
Yes, it combined with Stanimir's warning about not going to Ravenloft. I believe he's holed up there, at least temporarily.
Well, if we do a quick investigation at Barovia, I just think it's worthwhile to explore some of these beneficial fortunes that she talked about. I guess I don't really want to go to a city where we're not welcome, though.
Barovia didn't sound unwelcoming, per se.
No,
We passed just through it, yeah.
Where the Abbey is, isn't that?
Oh,
where
yeah.
He's helping us.
Kresk, yeah.
Yeah.
I would vote for Barovia.
Okay. Let's do it.
That would be Ernest's vote, is we go to Barovia first, and then after that, well, it looks like we'll have to head like towards that windmill in Vallaki, because looks like there's not a road that connects, like on the southern portion of the map. If we want to like cross over, we have to cross in the north.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So Shani would look to her brother, and she will echo his vote simply.
What do you say?
So now we're going back the way we came, yeah? And what are we gonna do there? We're gonna look at an old house, we're gonna do some construction investigation.
And we gotta get my sis some bolts she lost.
Alright.
And perhaps we could send you in to steal a more detailed map than this old man was able to provide.
Hey, this is a lot better than I was expecting. I'm taking out like my parchment, like flipping on the backside and copying this. We have it for future reference.
Okay. Actually, let's do this.
Did save the rough map to my pins below as well.
But that can actually serve a function, because draw a map is a travel activity. You don't have cartographer's tools, but let's just make an intelligence check to see how kind of detailed your map is.
Ooh, I kind of lean over Ernest and say, "This is a pretty good map. What do you think?" And I cast guidance.
Okay.
I'm also going to use one of my inspirations.
Okay, roll with advantage. Intelligence check.
Yeah, not save.
Do I need to add something?
Oh, good thing I did.
Roll a d4 as well.
I thought he put it on me. My bad.
No, I'm sorry.
No, but
22.
to answer that question for the future, what you'll want to do is same thing in the combat tracker or on the map. Just like you're attacking an enemy, you can target an ally and buff them. So then you would just target Ernest and hit
The effect that's
the effect
tied
of
to
that.
it.
Got it. Okay.
All right, Ernest, I have added a simple map of Barovia to your backpack. So you have a simple map. Basically, you can have a detailed map, simple map, a crude map, or a wasted effort. So you have a decent map that you can use, and that will be usable during navigation and finding your way across the land.
Nice.
Yep,
That's very useful.
Yep, it serves an actual mechanical function.
Sweet.
Hey, Stanimir, you said
Yes?
the Crest people were not very welcoming. What about Vallaki? Are they rude too?
Yes, Kresk, they don't like people. Vallaki, they're an odd bunch there. Last I heard, their burgomaster was kind of an odd one. You know those type of people that want everybody to get along, and then they try doing things to force people to get along, and it just makes people not get along? He's one of them people.
It sounds like an interesting character.
You might meet some resistance getting inside, but that's everywhere. They're wary of people.
Oh, in a land as dangerous as this, you know, I can't quite blame them.
True.
I did have one more quick thing, but before when we were walking in here, your friend over there was talking about some sort of wizard or something. Anyway, there were some tales of him still being alive that he said. Have you heard those too?
I have heard some whispers. It happened quite a few years ago, but I must admit, we do get often enough some adventurers that come to this land. Many of them do not survive very long, if truth be told. He was one of these adventurers, but he was actually quite powerful. He formed a band of many people, got them together to try and defeat the devil himself, but ended up failing. But there are rumors that he is still alive. Very powerful, very powerful. Never seen spell work like his.
These rumors, do they say, like, where he was spotted? Up around any of the lakes around here, or mountains or something?
Near the mountains, I believe.
Oh, which one? On this map you drew, there's like 3!
Sure, we are in a valley of sorts. I cannot say I remember which mountain, but yes, there are near some mountains. He's away from civilization, so it would take a while to get to him, that is for sure.
Damn. Perhaps we'll have to keep an ear out. Okay, so we got the winding road deep in the mountains. We got, a House of Corruption. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, where is the House of Corruption?
Yeah, we got a mountainside abbey. And
Isn't that in Barovia?
No.
That was in Barovia.
There's a town where all is not well. You'll find a House of Corruption within a dark room full of still ghosts. Hey, kitty.
Yeah. That's the one that's the one that gets Rufus all hot and bothered.
So Stanimir, besides Crest and Valaki, what other villages are around here? Oh, and
Villages?
obviously Barovia.
How many villages? Village of Barovia, there's Valaki and Kresk. I believe that's it.
There's no others?
No. Not a very hospitable land.
Well, guys, it seems like that part's a little bit of good luck. We have to pass through all 3 of these anyway.
We first started Barovia.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I think so. That would be your earnest vote. Any other questions that we can think of?
So Shani is just... Oh, I forgot to follow Ernest before. So Shani is just sitting back quietly, listening intently, while keeping an eye on, like, everything. Scanning the area.
Well, Stanimir, you've been mighty kind to us. I appreciate it. It's not too often you eat folk like you that live in a place like this.
Well, it's easier to live here when you can come and go as you choose.
Oh, that's very true, I suppose. One more thing, is it possible for us to get a couple of horses for tomorrow?
You may try to trade, but I must admit, my kin are very difficult hagglers. Depends how much coin you carry.
Ernest turns to his companions. Well, are we interested in getting a horse, guys? It makes traveling a sure lot easier.
So Shani does interject with, so you requested us to come here and help you, but we are not to be helped by you in order to help you?
We must be very careful with how much aid we give to adventurers. For if Strahd discovered our secret of trying to vanquish him, he would undoubtedly slay us all.
Mighty convenient.
It would draw a lot of attention, wouldn't it, if, a whole bunch of adventurers were riding around on Vistani horses?
Yes, very true.
And what is your policy towards horse thieves?
I would not call us horse thieves, more like horse procurers.
No, you misunderstand my meaning. What is your policy when one of your horses is stolen?
He
Although I
claps
think you did
his
explain it.
claps his thigh. Oh, yes, sorry, force of habit. We don't like horse thieves, no.
It makes me think that they didn't come by these horses legally either.
Well, however they came by then, the horses seem to have quite a fondness for each of them, and I think they would raise a bit of a ruckus were we to try and remove them without direct release from those they are bonded with. Horses are very wise creatures.
So I guess this means we're traveling back on our own.
Apparently our feet will have to do.
Yeah,
Well,
I think.
Stanimir, where are you headed next?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What I asked Stanimir, where are you headed next? Are you just staying here? Is that the plan?
Oh, I'm not headed anywhere in particular. I think I'll stick around with my family, catch up with a little bit of time. When the depression starts to set in, I prefer to go back out into the world. This mist has a way of hanging on you if you stay too long.
What time of day is it?
It is approaching dusk. So right now, you've been here for maybe 2 hours or so.
I say we stay here and we leave
4.
our first light.
Yeah,
I will
don't
say
think traveling.
it's 4 p.m.
I have a feeling that traveling at night in this land is probably not a good idea.
Ill-advised.
Agree.
But you and the DM.
I don't know what the DM's trying to tell us right now.
Do not do
It's
it.
kind of hard to interpret. I think get the heck out of here and leave right now.
Yeah, so he said, don't stay there. You have to leave now, guys.
I mean, he
When the
said
map
so.
consists of a bunch of X's.
Don't go here, don't go here, don't go here.
Okay, well, where can we go? It seems like a shorter list.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think Ernest would settle in, find a spot to put his cot down, eat a little bit of food, not drink wine but drink water, and enjoy the festivities of the night and bond with you guys. He would, he'd bring up his fighting style is more of a hit and run tactic versus a stand up and fighter. Other small talk.
Rubicon says, I'm just a straight up blaster.
Rufus is inquisitive towards Ernest's fighting style and is intently watching him and his moves.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you can tell Ernest is very nimble, and when he was trying to swing at those swords earlier, not the swords, the scarecrows. Thank you, I couldn't think of the word. He was aiming for armpit and groin and kneecaps and stuff like that. He wasn't hacking and slashing. Yep.
Very precise.
Yep.
Yeah, you're all welcomed. You're, you're kind of waved to the fire and everything. Some Vistani move off their logs and allow you to sit down. But you're welcomed around the fire. People are kind of telling tales, sharing jokes, and all sorts of stuff. Anything anyone wishes to do or say or partake in before we take a rest?
At one point, Ernest would bring up the name Irina Kolyana and ask Stanimir if he knows anything about that girl.
Irina, that is the name of the woman in the letter you found close to the entrance, yes?
Oh,
There's
yeah,
a-
it is. How'd you know?
Well, I heard you talking about it, sharing the letter to each other. Dead bodies are not very, out of the ordinary, if I'm being honest. But Irina, I do not know the name Irina, but Kolyana, I believe, is the name of the... No. Perhaps, is that the adopted daughter of the... I believe that's the adopted daughter of the burgomaster of the village of Barovia.
Well,
If-
then, Jance, seems like another reason we gotta go back.
Yeah, what I hear is the burgomaster found a young girl off on her own in the woods and took her in so she wouldn't die. She must be grown up now. Must be a woman.
Well, part of our reason for being here, guys, was to take care of werewolves. And if she was bitten by a werewolf, perhaps she's got some more information on him.
Oh, you would do best to hope she is not bitten, for if she is, I would stay very clear of her. Shoo her out into the woods as quick as you can. Werewolves are nothing to be trifled with. And then another Vistani says, I swear I saw a werewolf off in the woods just the other night. Chilled me to my bones. I ran clear away as fast as I could. Luckily, I met my brothers. Otherwise, I probably would have been dragged off and eaten.
Whereabouts was this sighting?
Excuse me. I had to burp.
Very in character, I think.
Actually, I was traveling on along the road inside the woods over by Lake Bartok.
Rufus
So-
looks for food everywhere. Can he find food? Is he
Oh,
well
yeah.
fed at this point?
Yeah, there's definitely
Where-
there's like bread and like bits of meat, salted pork and stuff, kind of just hanging around, apples and everything.
So,
So real quick, on the map that I just shared again, the map of Barovia that you have, for reference, each one of those hexes is a quarter mile. So it's really not like a huge land, so it's not like it's going to take forever to get anywhere. So like you can see from the gates on the east to get to where you are at Serpool took about an hour and 30 minutes.
Okay.
So just for reference.
Okay. Oh, we don't see the hash marks.
Yeah, they're hexagons.
Well, if it's only
Oh, gotcha.
if it's only
Okay.
4 o'clock
Really
and it only takes an hour and a half, we could get back to the Barovia tonight and get into an inn before the sun sets, I presume.
That is true.
I'm okay with resting though, because if we get hassled on the road, I'm pretty, I would say, half-winded
Are you saying this in character or out of character?
to everybody in character.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I think it might be best to stay here. If they're willing to continue to house us for the evening. We did encounter a few strange tales on the road, as it were.
Well, I think I agree. 2 of you got pretty beat up. And the other 2 of you used a decent amount of your spells. Like, there's no reason to take an unnecessary risk.
Yeah,
We're
I'd
safer
rather
now.
not see the gallows again either tonight if I can. That scared the shit out of me.
So Shani does get an idea. She perks up. Stanimir, I know you are not able to help with horses, and I have the utmost respect for your position. Would anybody be willing to accidentally drop some bolts that can be used in my crossbow, perchance?
He kind of laughs. I don't think you know my people very well. They will barter for anything. Even the most useless bead, they'll sell you for a fortune, telling you it's magic.
I am afraid I have very few items in my possession. She pulls out the gold piece from Argal. I have this. She'll pull out her, I have 10 gold pieces. Oh, she'll pull out an iron pot. Perhaps any of these would be useful to your people.
You'll have to talk to some of them. I do not know what they wish. I do not have any bolts myself, but they might.
That sounds like an awful lot of socializing. Well, I appreciate it anyway.
Ernest puts his finger on his nose and stares back at her.
She does look to her brother as she says it sounds like a lot of socializing. She kind of gives a sheepish hey bro look to Ernest. Ernest, might you help your dear human despondent sister?
No, you know what this means. You're too slow.
She says, oh no, I lost the race. Seems you get to be the one to talk to the folk.
And Rufus, unbeknownst to Shoshani or any other of the party members, kind of look for crossbow bolts or a crossbow itself.
Sure. Rufus, if you want to kind of search some of the tents and wagons, definitely. Let's see. You search through one of the wagons, and you actually find that there are 16 precious gemstones within.
Oh, damn.
But no crossbow bolts?
Not crossbow bolts in this one. Do you want
I'll just shoot
to...
the gemstones.
I leave the gemstones.
Do you want to take them?
No, I'm just looking for crossbow bolts.
Okay. So, after some time, you look, and it doesn't seem like they have a lot of weapons. These people definitely are the more pacifist type. But nonetheless, there's odds and end stuff here and there. Doesn't really seem to be any sort of organization to it. After a little bit of time, you do find a small a small case of crossbow bolts. 10 to your count.
Does anybody see me?
Make me a stealth check.
Can I use my inspiration for this?
You absolutely can. When you make your stealth, please roll it in the dice tower.
I drag. That's right, I drag.
Yep. Yes. All right. You think reasonably well that you are hidden. People are not noticing you.
All right, I take the crossbow bolts and fly back up on top of the, or I guess basically just try to get as close to Shoshani again as possible so I can slip her the case that I found.
Okay. Rufus, looking around these wagons and everything, you find this case. 10 crossbow bolts, a little less than you probably would have liked. You look about to see if anybody notices you, and it doesn't seem like they have. They're comfortable with you being around. A lot of the Vistani are just sharing each other's company around the fire, drinking wine, enjoying the merriment. Looking around once again. Reach out a hand, grab the case, fly up. And you're good. Nobody shouts alarm or anything. You make your way over to Shoshani. And do you try to hand her the crossbow bolt case?
Where is she sitting down now? Where is she at right now? Where are you at, Shoshani?
She is still standing where she is on the map. trying to convince her brother to haggle with some of the people and talk to people for her.
So if she's doing that, I kind of just, I on the ground, kind of at her knee level, I guess. I sort of drop the case at her feet so that hopefully she can see, but no one else sees that this case is dropped onto her feet.
Okay. Rufus, could you make me a sleight of hand check?
Dice tower? Or no?
No. Doesn't have to be. Okay. Same as before, inconspicuous. You drop the crossbow bolt case, and Sashani, you're able to pick it up. I will now give you some crossbows.
Does she notice who dropped it?
Yeah, your affinity to the Fae in their ways and everything kind of allows you to reasonably know what's going on.
Okay,
I now have those in your inventory.
She will not look around because she doesn't want to bring attention, but she will pick them up, casually put them in her bag, and make a mental note to thank Rufus in the future. And she'll
in Sylvan, I may whisper, "Yeah, I got a pretty sweet deal on this bartering for these crossbows." And I kind of walk away.
In Sylvan, she
Bartering.
will whisper upon the wind. Thank you, my new friend. And her brother, to her brother, because she's still talking to Ernest, she just randomly says some things in Sylvan and then continues, "Please, brother, please, you're so much better at talking to people than I am."
So he had turned back to the party at the.
Oh, she was talking with you that whole time.
Okay.
So you just turned around and ignored her?
No, so he probably would have seen the crossbow bolts appear, right?
I don't know.
I mean, if you bent down to pick them up and we're talking to each other.
You just said you turned back to the party,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Say, "Hey sis, where'd you get those?"
Get what, brother?
Oh, those crossbow bolts.
Brother, keep your voice down.
Yeah,
You have a higher
what?
level of intelligence than this.
Well, yeah, I sure do.
Honest.
Did you steal them?
No. And she looks you in the eyes. I did not.
Stanimir speaks up. What? What are you talking about? I thought you were asking where the lake was.
No, I'm still asking my brother to find me to ask people for crossbow bolts, but he's being stubborn as a mule. I'm not as sociable as he is, you see.
Right.
Well, sis, if you said he didn't steal them, they're not stolen, then I believe you.
Stanimir is gonna roll a insight check, but he is drunk, so he has disadvantage. He just kind of shrugs. Right. Actually, come to think of it, might be easy to bargain with them since we have some drink in us.
Yeah, possibly. Hey, speaking of that lake, you ever been to Lake Baratok? Is it nice?
I have, yes. There's an old tower there. Not sure anybody inhabits it, but somehow it's still standing. Last I hear, still remains. Lake's pretty nice as far as lakes go, yeah.
Ernest is good to go to sleep, I think.
Okay, so how about the rest of the party? Are we good for a rest or?
Yeah, I'm good.
Ready for a long rest.
Okay, so you continue on with the merriment, and soon dusk arrives. And some of them kind of just like fall asleep where they are. Some of them go off into the wagons. But nonetheless, night comes, and you are welcomed to share some of the tents and wagons. No one really has claim to anything. People just kind of make their way to an area to fall asleep. But let's see, it would be 6 p.m. as night falls, and you are in a sanctuary. So this Vistani camp is a sanctuary, so you may take a full rest. There is no need for a watch or anything like that.
Do we have to click anything to get a full rest, or does it just...
Nope. I did that.
Cool.
Also, I thought of something else that you three newbies might not know. If you want to do... Now, you don't want to do too much role-playing this way, because we like it to be seen, but if you want to do like a secret, like you whisper to someone, or you say under your breath, or speak in a language only you know, something like that, if you go to their icon in the top left and you right-click it, there's a circle that comes up, and if you do like the body with like the waves above its head, and you left-click on whisper, you can type a message just to that person. You can do the same thing to the DM with the dice tower. So if you want to just ask the DM something behind the scenes, or you're doing like behind the scenes roleplay, you can whisper just to the DM.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Helpful.
Good to know.
Or like I said, if you just want to do it in chat box, you can click on that language, like where it says common, you can switch to the other language and do it there too.
Okay. I always forget how many experience points is needed for a level up.
Level 2.
It's 300 to
Is
get
it?
to level 2.
Thought it was 300,
Just
just didn't know.
Barely
Sure.
do it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot of experience.
So are we at
There we
level...
go. Yeah, because
Yeah, so
that
right now-
wasn't, that was not correct. Shit, I messed up again.
Level 3. Level 3. Level 3.
Keep screwing that up.
I think
It's
you're doing
okay.
great.
You're like so pretty. Nobody can even be mad.
There we go.
Plus
All
you get
these,
extra points because of the t-shirt you're wearing.
all these like automations and some of the shit like that, it's very useful, but at the same time, if I don't do the thing correctly, it messes up. Rufus. Oh, must have had a internet thing. Okay.
Yeah, I'm having to load back into Fantasy Grounds right now for some reason.
Okay. There we go.
I'm
Everybody
back.
gets 120 experience points.
Wow. Can we go back to 4890? That was way better.
Yes.
Yeah, that was not correct.
Boy.
Right. I will give you let's see.
Do you have to write it somewhere, or does it?
Nope,
track
it's
it?
tracked on your character sheet. So if you go to the main tab and you click on your class, it pulls up your experience points.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, leveling up is going to be a whole experience for you boys.
That will
It's
give you
pretty easy.
each
It is.
40 experience points for reaching Sarahpool encampment and having your fortunes read.
Sweet.
All right.
So, how many points is each Vistani drunk worth?
Bloodbath.
They are worth an amount.
Fighting
They're
them
worth
or
an
talking
amount.
to them?
Slay them all in their sleep.
Yikes.
Wait. I can't remember. Are we doing milestones for this one?
No, we're doing experience.
Oh shoot! I would have fought the wolves if I'd remembered that. Good thing you didn't tell us then, because we would have had a TPK early on.
And so the murder hoboing begins.
Yeah, it didn't take
Cautious
long.
and guarded to belligerently
Yeah.
slaughtering.
Murder hobo.
I'm saying Nicole will say that, but so Shani, her first act would not be to fight them. She would have tried to be friends with them for sure.
Yeah, you like animals.
Oh yeah. That's why I put the kitty on camera. Wait a minute.
Right.
Yeah.
Disconnected. All right, so you wake up in the morning nice and refreshed.
All right.
I gotta roll at 12:55 sharp, just FYI.
Okay.
No worries.
No worries.
I mean, that's a good ending time.
That's in like 4 minutes, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Or we could just say we hit the road.
Do we want to end there?
I think so.
Okay.
Seems like a good spot, right?
Okay. Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
So that is exactly what we will do. You wake up in the morning, nice and refreshed, a full night's sleep. You feel a lot better waking up than you would think on the road. This Vistani encampment and its safety that it provides, very refreshing. You have fully recharged powers, everything, spell slots, and all of that. And you may continue your venture into Barovia. So, moving back to village of Barovia, I believe, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
Basically backtracking.
Computer's being dumb for some reason. Okay, so let's see. Who wants to act as the travel master? Basically, you're the person that says how fast you're going to be traveling, so you determine the pace, you determine the destination, and then you keep track of resources. Resources being food and water.
Does this have a skill associated with it, or is this
Nope.
just...
It's just you're kind of just the person that's logging the resources, keeps track of the resources, and then you say where you want to go, and then how fast you're traveling.
Dahlgrim, you seem to be pretty good with a pen, but I don't know if that matters.
I mean, I'm game. I would just leave room for somebody more familiar with the mechanics. But
Wait, sorry,
Yeah.
I meant Ernest, because Ernest was writing stuff down earlier, right?
Yeah, I could do it. Not a big
Okay,
deal.
I can keep track of resources pretty easily too, so it would be more just like you're the person that actually like says to me where you're going and what the pace is, because I need that information. The pace would either be fast, normal, or slow,
Right.
and then we can go over that. Yeah, and we will end here because if we go further, then it's more stuff to remember for the start of next time. So, excellent.
Guys, we had our first fight together.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Aww.
Well, Rubicon had his first fight. I mean,
All right, and that is the final call, the final salute. One last time, thank you to everybody who tuned in. Make sure to check out the YouTube, throw a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, keep up to date on all of the past sessions. I have the Lost Mine coming up. I think we're actually playing this Sunday, just waiting to hear back from some players. But yes, we had to cancel the last session because people had some last minute stuff, players not able to show up. But yeah, like, subscribe, YouTube, follow me on Twitter, check out my socials, all that good stuff. Follow me on Twitch, join the Discord community so that you can see every time we're going live. Join in on some campaigns. I'm looking to play some more games. I want some more D&D in my life. So if you are looking out there, let's talk about it and let's get something figured out. Thank you once again, one final time. Tip those bad boys back. Finish whatever you're drinking. This has been the Tavern League.